Orphaned and forgotten, this kid wasn't raised, he was harvested. Humanity gone. Cheon became nothing but raw material for 6 science experiments. They stripped his identity and branded him Subject 17. Against his will, they surgically fused an S+ rank chimera into his very soul. Miraculously, his child-sized frame tanked that god-tier power without cracking. Fast forward 64 years, he was deployed to slaughter the very monsters he was made of. 59 years ago, Cheon's memories vanished into the fog. The torture didn't just continue, it evolved. By the end, you couldn't even recognize the human beneath the scars. He was just livestock in a cage. 20 years back, full-blown monstrosity. But drop a beat to 3 days ago. One injection of Chimera Cell 50027, and the script flipped. The beast receded. The human returned. For the first time in decades, the lights in his mind actually turned on. Now, strapped with apocalyptic power, Cheon sees one thing: freedom. But history has a way of repeating. A jagged crimson rift shattered the clear blue sky out of nowhere. Portals yawned open, spelling instant doomsday. No warning, just a tidal wave of nightmares spilling, straight from the demonic realm. But humanity wasn't helpless. Special individuals stepped up, unlocking distinct abilities, fueled by the raw surge of mana. Because of these awakened heroes, the human race finally had a shot at clapping back. Years rolled by, cities rose from the ashes, and peace kinda returned. But the threat never really slept. The monster raids were relentless. Cut to a hunter barely holding a shield against a goblin swarm. The real issue: high demand, low supply of naturally awakened warriors. Since they couldn't stem the endless tide of beasts, humanity got desperate. The solution: lab-grown horrors. Living weapons engineered with one purpose: exterminate portal creeps. The world dubbed them Chimera Hunters. A grim new hope. The recipe: take one death row prisoner, mix with portal minerals, and spice it up with monster cells. Survival instincts kicked in and mass production went into overdrive. It was the unholy marriage of mad science and hunter physiology, tanking the mortality rate drastically. With the monsters kept at bay, society could finally hit the resume button on civilization. Cut to a shady off-the-books lab. 2 researchers are running the graveyard shift checks. Deep in the basement, one guy notices something gross. Subject number 17's arms are literally decaying. His partner warns him to back off, but the guy shrugs it off, claiming the thing's brain is total mush anyway. He pokes at the necrotic flesh on the right arm, guessing it's a glitch in the serum. But here's the creeping horror part. The creature's eyes are locked on, fully aware of the approaching doom. Spooked, the other scientist snaps at him to ignore it, since this chimera is scheduled for the incinerator. They spin around and bail, abandoning the beast in the pitch black. Meanwhile, up in the plush director's office, the report comes in. Number 17 is toast. Total physiological collapse. The director leans back cold as ice and asks for the expiration date. 1 month tops, the suit replies. Then, dropping a bombshell, the director decides to squeeze one last drop of blood out of the asset to cover retreating hunters. The final order: disable the recall command. Leave the chimera to rot. Smash cut to the demonic realm. Desolate. 17 stands solo on the battlefield. Suddenly, a massive aerial beast dive bombs our lone wolf. But the chimera doesn't flinch. He flexes his power, freezing the beast mid-air like a pinned insect. Meanwhile, snipers from the monster horde launch a barrage of fireballs. The ground explodes, a colossal worm erupts, screaming a challenge to the abandoned warrior. Boom 17 launches skyward, catching the kaiju completely off guard. Riding that kinetic wave, he blitzes through a squadron of flyers, turning them into confetti. Then, channeling an insane amount of mana, he conjures a sphere of crackling high-voltage lightning. He unleashes a thunderbolt the size of a skyscraper, nuking the entire ground zero. The voltage is so erratic that the monsters are extra crispy in seconds. From a safe distance, the human hunters watch jaws dropped, hyping up the S-class power. One guy notes the portal has been open for 3 days with 0 chill. But he shrugs it off. We're good, the chimera is carrying the team. Another hunter draws his blade. Chill, as you like. Our job is easy, he says. Just mop up the trash mobs that slip through the cracks. Suddenly, the red portal pulses violently. It's collapsing. Signal confirmed. The mission is a wrap. The squad leader screams for evac. It's quitting time, boys. Meanwhile, 17 is still in the thick of it, slaughtering the stragglers. As the team pulls back, a rookie girl asks the question nobody wants to hear. Aren't we extracting the chimera? The leader doesn't even look back. Orders are to leave it. It's on death's door anyway. The girl hesitates, guilt creeping in, but her partner shuts her down cold. Don't waste tears on that thing. It's just a bioweapon with a pulse. Back in the fray, the chimera takes a critical hit. His hand gets skewered, but he doesn't pause. To the world, he's a monster, but his programming is absolute: ensure the humans make it out alive. That was the only variable that mattered. A grotesque nightmare with human teeth steps up, drooling, ready to feast. Running on fumes, 17 scrapes the bottom of the barrel for mana. One last nuke. He triggers a blinding lightning blast, proving he understood the assignment. Stay behind. Die. Nothing else existed, except the completion of the objective. No return ticket issued. Hand planted on the scorched earth, body crumbling to dust. Mission complete. The beast's instinct clawed for control one last time, but the clock had run out. The final command was absolute, no return trip. It was over. Mission report clean sweep, 0 hunter casualties. The chimera marked as trash to be discarded. But not before he soloed over 18 monsters. As his consciousness fades, the black box of his memories cracks open. It reveals the twist: he wasn't born a monster. He was a kidnapped human. His mind is shattered, practically fried, but his eyes are glued to the screen. He watches the tragedy of his own life play out in 4K. Rewind to 79 years ago. A man dumps a child at an orphanage. Fast forward, and the director is beating the kid just for defending himself against a bully. The heavy door slams shut, sealing his fate in that house of horrors. The caretakers get sick of him and toss the kid out into the freezing snow like garbage. That's when the suits show up, men in black, dragging him into the shadows. He wakes up in a lab, the newest rat in the maze. They brand him number 17 and give him one rule: there is no escape. The log updates scientists injecting S+ class monster cells directly into number 17's veins. They wait for the mutation, watching like hawks. Shockingly, the kid doesn't warp. He keeps his human face, defying every law of biology. Intrigued by this genetic anomaly, they decide to crank the dial up to 11. The white coats gather round, ready to torture his biology until it breaks. Flashback to 64 years ago, combat training begins. He grows up in the arena, a living weapon, frying monsters with high-voltage lightning in real combat scenarios. He was a walking natural disaster, obliterating threats and saving civilians like a programmed hero. A mother and daughter weep with gratitude at his feet, but the crowd whispers pity. He just stares blankly, emotion deleted, saying it's fine. Jump to 59 years ago. The glitch starts. He freezes mid-battle, eyes glazing over, memory files corrupted. He has no clue where he is. A scientist steps into the frame, checking if the brainwashing is fading. Suddenly, the guy cheers. The side effects have finally kicked in. The monster is taking over. Time skip. After 15 years of cellular torture, the data is in. He is the lab's magnum opus, a weapon with god-tier destruction capabilities. 20 years ago, a flicker of humanity, someone called him a good boy. But the beast took over. His monstrous form sent a woman screaming in terror. The public turned on him, branding him a ticking time bomb, a creature not to be trusted. Memory sync complete 3 days ago, the final suicide run. His body crumbling to dust, he marks the mission, complete. Alone, he watches the sun come up, accepting his end in this god-forsaken wasteland. But then, a blinding flare ignites, from inside his own ashes. It's not over. Energy surges, knitting his spine back together. 527 monster cells go into overdrive, regenerating at warp speed. Flesh, muscle, and bone weaving together on the frame of number 17. A supernova of light swallows the battlefield. When the smoke clears, a human man stands there wondering what the actual hell just happened. Against all logic, the Chimera Hunter has respawned. No chains, no masters. He takes a step, wondering if he's finally unlocked his humanity. He checks his hand, the monster cells are humming alive. But the brand, the number 17 tattoo, gone. He realizes he's been thrown out like trash, which means he's finally free. The phoenix cells in his DNA pulled a hard reset, raising him from the dead. He flexes strength, stats are maxed out. No control spells, no pain, just raw power. The nightmare of being number 17 is in the rearview mirror. Can he actually live a normal life now? A memory surfaces, a scientist once told him, to find redemption. The quest, save at least 1,000 people to balance the scales. The guy suggested the name Cheon Dawoon. Sounds like a bad joke, honestly. He pushes it aside, wanting to just move. But the dark thought of revenge creeps in. He knows vengeance requires a target within reach. But it's been so long, the rage feels distant, almost cold. He decides that if fate crosses their paths, he'll handle it then. For now, he turns to the sun, ready to start his own story. Mission objective, live like a human. First obstacle, he needs gear. Considering he is stark naked in the middle of a desert, can't even recall the last time he wore actual clothes. He spots a forest and a river, but his crafting skill is 0. Cautiously, he creeps into the brush to scout the area. Jump scare, he stumbles across something massive hidden in the weeds. A dead griffin. It's a beast, but there's no battle damage. He scans the corpse, trace amounts of blood. Cause of death, poison. Jackpot. He needs leather, and this thing is a walking fabric store. To skin it, he shifts his arm, morphing it into a jagged, lethal blade. Flashbacks to dissection class kick in as he plans the incision. But the second his hand brushes the beast, a sudden blast of purple aura slams into him, catching him off guard. He realizes the griffin corpse is leaking massive clouds of toxic gas, but his immunity is built different, 0 reaction. He decides to harvest the hide anyway. Mission accomplished, he drapes the raw skin over his shoulders, quip that it's not too shabby for a rookie attempt. He heads down to the river to scrub the gore off his scavenged prize. The texture is off, though stiff as a board and way harder than he expected. Then a light bulb goes off in his head. He starts pummeling the hide, unleashing a barrage of full-force punches. Is this how you tan leather? Who knows? But he keeps hammering away. Moments later, the material submits, turning buttery soft, exactly what he was aiming for. The hunter checks the specs. Size is perfect. He's about to suit up, but back at camp, chaos ensues. A baby griffin with a flaming head crashes the party. The creature catches him slipping right when he was locked in on his tailoring. Slash. He carves a neck hole with surgical precision. Thinking fast, he snags a vine to rig up a makeshift belt. The monster leather fit is snug and honestly, kinda fire. But then he spots a snag. The beast's venom hasn't fully evaporated from the gear. He can't be bothered to scrub it again. That's when the real shocker hits, that baby griffin is still breathing. The little critter starts screaming, and somehow the meaning translates perfectly. It clicks. This guy is an immortal variant, which explains the survival skills. Old him would have ended it instantly, but the thing is too pathetic to be a threat now. It's your lucky day, he muses. This is my second shot at life, and I'm choosing good vibes. He waves it off, adding that if destiny aligns, they'll cross paths again. Wardrobe crisis averted, he decides it's time to hunt for a permanent crib. Suddenly, a colossal centipede erupts from the shadows, screeching like a banshee. It looms over him, sizing our hero up for lunch. Unfazed, he just gripes. Way too dark in here. Wham. One casual strike decapitates the beast, sending neon green ichor spraying everywhere. Stepping over the twitching carcass, he vetoes the cave immediately. The house hunt drags on. He hits a snow-capped peak only to bump into a raging yeti who isn't big on guests. He scopes the area, zero food sources. Hard pass, he decides, leaving the snowman to its tantrum. Next spot has weird fungi reeking of death, so he bounces. Finally, he checks a dank, grimy cave that makes him gag. He moves on. After trekking forever, he stumbles upon a hidden gem. At the edge of a cliff, a majestic waterfall crashes down, and the scenery is straight up breathtaking. Intrigued, he dives right off the edge without hesitation. He sticks the superhero landing, impacting the riverbank and sending a massive splash sky high. The water is crystal clear, and better yet, it's teeming with giant, monstrous piranhas. Dinner is served, he's already fantasizing about a roast. With an endless buffet secured, building here is a no-brainer. Plus, the wildflowers and crisp air are a total vibe. Standing center stage in the clearing, he knows this is it. A satisfied grin creeps across his face. He decides, Cheonda-woon's estate breaks ground right here. The plot is pristine, the ultimate start to his peaceful retirement. Crack, a dark crackling portal tears open the sky, shattering the silence. Something gets violently ejected, smashing into the earth and kicking up a massive dust storm. Through the haze, a battered, sparking robot appears. Its red optics flare to life, and it glitches out, asking if this is the demon realm. Ignoring the trash, Daewoo admires the flora, noting how fresh the air smells. Top-tier location. You can even hear the falls, he murmurs. Smiling at the heavens, he commits. It's building time. First step, landscaping, so he flexes his powers to clear the zone. He unleashes threads of pure energy slicing through the timber like a hot knife through butter. Massive trunks topple effortlessly, just a casual display of god-tier strength. With the lumber down, he figures the terrain is prepped. He uses telekinesis to sort and stack the premium wood. Materials check, but the foundation is bumpy. Time to flatten the curve, so he punches the ground. Hard. The shockwave levels the site instantly, leaving it sunny and perfectly flat. Satisfying. He pats the dirt, realizing his body is moving on autopilot, muscle memory taking over. To kick things off, he hoists a massive pillar for the cornerstone. He feels lighter, genuinely having a blast. It's his first DIY home project, and he's speedrunning the flooring. Who needs nails? He decides to use slime from a slug monster to fuse the walls together. He explains that once the gunk cures, it becomes waterproof bedrock. Finishing touch, planting exotic trees around the perimeter. He's vibing with the setup because most beasts can't even touch this place. The crib turned out surprisingly cozy, and honestly, he's proud of his first DIY project. But the vibe feels incomplete, so he racks his brain trying to recall what pre-apocalypse homes looked like. A memory hits him, an old lab lecture about Civilization 101. The holovids showed lush green yards where people grew stuff. He briefly entertains the idea of a doggo companion, but immediately scraps it. Keeping a pet alive here is mission impossible. Plan B, a garden. But what kind of flora survives this hellscape? Then, a light bulb goes off. He eyes the looming snow-capped peak in the distance. Mandrakes, those rare magical tubers, might actually thrive in his backyard. Cut to the mountain. A blizzard is raging, but honestly, that's just Tuesday weather around here. The biting chill triggers a flashback to the day he was snatched. He remembers freezing to death. It was so bad that being dragged off by shady strangers actually felt like a rescue. Being a chimera definitely has its perks. Frostbite, starvation, not his problem anymore. Suddenly, his senses spike. A massive concentration of demonic energy is nearby. He's closing in on the target. Eyes scanning the white wasteland, our warrior finally spots them, tiny sprouts poking through the frost. Thank God, not a wasted trip. These are the legendary mandrakes. Hypersensitive little guys that hate environmental changes. Strategy time, snag the youngest one, since a baby should adapt faster. He grips the sprout, bracing himself for the infamous ear-shattering death scream. Pluck. Instead of a shriek, the thing lets out a tiny, adorable squeak. Dawoon freezes, totally bewildered. Curious, he yanks another one out. Same deal, chill vibes only. He stares at the two veggie critters in his palms, wondering if they're sleep-talking. Here's the twist. Mandrakes only scream bloody murder when humans harvest them, specifically in low mana zones. Okay, the silence makes sense, but it's sus that they aren't even trying to wiggle away. Epiphany loading. They sense his chimera cells. They don't see a predator, they see a homie. This is huge. He secures them in his belt pouch. Low stress equals better flavor, right? He's already daydreaming about them growing big and strong, so he can politely ask for some roots for tea. But then a dark thought hits him, forcing the harvest. That turns them toxic. Suddenly, his radar pings. Humans, hunters, what are they doing on this death trap of a mountain? A smirk tugs at his lips. Time to crash the party and see what's going down at the gate. Camera pan. We see total chaos. Two hunters abandoned as bait by their own squad are facing down a stampede of white monstrosities. These things are out for blood. One bizarre beast unhinges its jaw, flashing razor-sharp fangs, and a gross mess of tentacles where a tongue should be. One hunter frantically casts an ice wall to block the assault, but the monster hits like a truck. Panic sets in. This is it. Game over. His partner screams. The shield is cracking. It can't hold. Watching the ice splinter, the guy bitterly regrets signing up for this chimera hunt suicide mission. Crash. The barrier explodes. He screams into the void, bracing for death. Suddenly, boom. A meteor-like impact shakes the ground, blasting snow everywhere. The smoke clears and the hunter's jaws drop. The entire monster pack instantly flattened. A shadowy figure rises from the mist. Is that a human? It's Dawoon looking absolutely stone cold. Perfect timing. But wait, one snow rabbit is still twitching and growls at him. It lunges. Dawoon just flexes his aura, a dark, suffocating pressure. Been a while since I felt this vibe, he mutters. The beast actually shrieks in terror and nopes out of there, scrambling away with whatever is left of the pack. The hunters are shook. Did those rank B nightmares just flee? Because of a look? One guy snaps out of it. You saved us. He introduces himself as Oh Song-ju, and his buddy is Kim Tae-hyun. Our hero replies, Cheon Dawoon. Tae-hyun's brain is buffering. This whole situation is weird. Never heard the name, and what's with the drip? Dawoon cuts to the chase. Why are you scrubs in a death zone like this? Money, the man admits. They took a gig to bag a chimera. Rumor was, some test subject escaped the lab, which is a massive red flag. Dawoon plays it cool, ignoring the obvious connection. Whatever. I'm grabbing a return crystal. Where's your gear? The hunter asks. The guy explains the grim reality. Their teammates looted them and left them as monster chow. Dawoon connects the dots. The traders have the gate crystal. The hunters look at him with puppy dog eyes. So, you got a plan. They are on the clock. Humans can't tank demonic energy forever. They will die if they stay here. Please help us, one pleads. Dawoon ignores the whining, focuses his sensory aura, and locks on. Got him. Zero explanation. Dawoon launches himself into the stratosphere with a god-tier leap. The hunters crane their necks, screaming, hey, where are you going? He's just a speck in the sky now. Scene switch. A tiny robot on the ground beeps, watching a blazing light hurtle straight toward it. The tiny droid skids to a halt at the cliff's edge. One look down tells it this spot is sketchy. Suddenly, the treasure hunters ambush from the shadows. They're screaming that it's game over, time to bag the target. But the bot, it flips the switch to combat mode. Protocol is simple. Threat detected, delete threat. Zero hesitation, the little machine launches full throttle at them. We're talking a high-octane, chaotic brawl, right on the precipice. Dawoon rolls up to the scene a moment later. Is he late to the party? The blood-spattered ground screams yes. He scans the mess. Hunters definitely bailed in a panic. Abandoned gear, weird footprints. The beast must have pulled a transformer, move mid-fight. Then it clicks. He recalls that intel about a mechanical test subject that went rogue from a lab. A liquid metal shapeshifter, Dawoon smirks. That is actually impressive engineering. That thing soloed 5 rank B hunters wild. Cut to the hunters. Seonju is absolutely cooked corruption eating his body. Don't die on me, man. His friend is losing it, begging him to stay alive for his pregnant wife. Heavy stuff. Taehyun tries to preach hope, praying for a miracle. Then he looks up, and his jaw hits the floor. There's Dawoon glowing like a literal deity hauling all the loot they ditched behind him. Zero shame, the hunter drops to his knees in the snow, pleading for a save. Dawoon just points out the obvious. You guys are out of gate stones. Stolen. Tough break. The guy slams down 2 checks, $1 million each. It's the price tag for survival. Our boy snatches that cash. He doesn't need paper money here, but back in civilization, that's pure leverage. Money secured, he casually crushes a gate stone and tosses them a shard. The portal swirls open and the hunter is weeping with gratitude. I owe you my life, the guy sobs, dragging his friend. Dawoon, he's just standing there, staring at the checks. Wait, aren't stones 200 grand, the hunter yells back. Market price is $1 million today. Dawoon realizes he accidentally ripped them off. He charged way over market value. Oops. With a sly grin, he decides to give them some change in a different way. Boom, Dawoon flares his blue mana. The hunter flinches in terror, that energy is volatile. Usually clashing manas mean instant death. But plot twist, the demonic energy evaporates, purified instantly. The guy is stunned, frozen. His friend gasps, fully healed. They hug it out, unable to believe they're actually breathing. They bow down to the snow, wondering who the actual hell is Cheon Dawoon. Meanwhile, back at base, Dawoon is chilling. He strolls back to his cabin, totally unbothered. Unexpected profit on a field trip. That's a win. He notices the mandrake is awake. Gardening time. He grabs a shovel and starts digging a spot for the little guy. New home secured. But the mandrakes, they look depressed, radiating a serious, sad vibe aura. Dawoon scratches his head. Not happy. Maybe they're hangry. He decides to inject some mana into the soil. Boom, instant mood swing. The little creatures perk up, loving the energy snack. Dawoon nods, satisfied. But then he freezes. Spidey senses tingling. There's a strange energy signature nearby. It's that fugitive target the hunters were chasing, hiding right in the bushes. Dawoon shrugs. Not his problem right now. Priorities, people. He stashes his new cash inside the cabin and starts unpacking his haul. And wow, he came prepared. Cooking gear, sleeping bags, extra gate stones, he's got the whole survival kit. He unearths a ramen packet. Flashback to the orphanage days hits him. That smile, pure nostalgia. Starving. It's noodle time. He heads to the river to grab the perfect amount of water. Suddenly, these bizarre, aggressive fish launch out of the water, jump scare much. But wait, people add toppings to ramen, right? Dawoon looks at the monster fish. You'll do. POW. He punches a fish midair. KO. Then he raids a nearby nest and scores some eggs. Protein secured. No green onions, no problem. He scales a tree and grabs some random herbs. Into the pot it all goes. Time to cook. But he's not alone. The little robot is lurking in the distance, watching silently. The bot is confused, trying to process this data. Back at the cabin, Dawoon sparks the fire. The recipe doesn't say when to add the fish, so he goes chaotic evil and dumps everything in at once. The mandrakes catch a whiff. The smell is so potent and weird they literally faint. System overload. Even the robot smells it and starts drooling oil. It wants a taste of that forbidden soup. It needs a plan. Processing. It accesses a memory file from the lab. Transformation sequence initiated. The metal foot morphs into a paw. The machine becomes a puppy. Humans love dogs, right? The dog trots up, whimpering for food. Dawoon stares blankly. He knows exactly who that metallic imposter is. He clocks the bot's scheme immediately. That injured puppy act is just a performance to farm sympathy points. Dawoon realizes this thing is basically a newborn runaway. Wondering how it slipped past lab security, he watches the puppy literally drooling over the pot, shaking with anticipation for a bite. Even though the grub looks absolutely cursed, Dawoon decides to roll the dice and taste test it. He tosses a serving to the dog, setting up a makeshift dining table. But the second that flavor hits his tongue, the creature glitches out, totally baffled by the funky taste. Smash, cut to a core memory. Little Dawoon slurping down ramen with a squad of other orphans. We see him inhaling that warm meal, filled with pure dopamine and satisfaction. That savory hit teleports him back to when he was just 7 years old. Back in the present, the robot sits in the woods, confused why the aroma vanished. Plot twist, the smell was so toxic. It made the mandrake sick enough to projectile vomit some weird slime. Dawoon turns to his furry guest and drops the hammer. You ate, now beat it. The pup turns and tries to limp away, playing the victim, but Dawoon catches the continuity error. Wrong leg, buddy. It was the left one earlier. Busted. The robot sprints off, magically fixing its limp in pure shame. Young Dawoon smirks. Meal done, he decides to tackle laundry because that leather tunic is getting way too crusty to wear. He grabs a beating stick, telling himself to go easy on the fabric, but he goes full Hulk mode, accidentally shattering the ground around him. He stares at the wreckage and the stick, realizing he definitely overcooked it. Drained, he shakes it off. It's fine. He's got one last shot at washing. He notices the mech creature has morphed into a rock and is lurking nearby. Turns out the little stalker has been shadowing him the entire laundry session. And even when he checked the flowers, the thing was there, cosplaying as a tree, just staring. Suddenly, a wild bee enters the chat. The tree loses its mind, breaking character and screaming like a siren. Exposed. It's terrified of bugs and has the mental capacity of a 5-year-old. Its voice is glitchy and robotic. But Dawoon isn't phased. He knows the drill. This is standard lag for young chimeras with downloaded brains. The bot is practically smoking from panic, while Dawoon just casually vibes with the flowers. Mission accomplished, laundry is done, even if it was harder than a boss raid. He's hyped about the results. Fresh shirt acquired. It looks a little tight though. He hangs it to dry and goes to inspect the mandrakes. The rockbot watches from the sidelines. Seeing an opening, it swipes the drying shirt straight off the line. It mimics Dawoon struggling to put the gear on. The shirt ends up looking like an oversized tunic on its frame. Mine, now. The robot claims the drip as its own. Suddenly a transformation sequence triggers, sprouting hair and shifting into a human shape. Boom, now it's a little girl feeling absolutely flawless with her new aesthetic. Back at the garden, Dawoon sees the wilted mandrakes and is totally confused. It doesn't add up since he cleared the area. He digs deeper and discovers a bug infestation underground. He nearly nuked his plants by mistake. He realizes he needs to upgrade to a legit garden mansion-sized. Suddenly, the girl peeks out from behind a tree trying to act shy. Dawoon is shook this time. She actually wants to chat. She asks if this crib is his, and he confirms, "Yeah, this is my HQ." She asks if he's a local. He decides to troll her a little, asking which tribe she reps, leaving the girl totally lost. She points back and says waterfall, so he improvises the Coco tribe. She awkwardly agrees. He points out she's wearing his shirt, and she hits him with finders keepers. He lets it slide. "What do you want?" she explains. She got kicked out and needs a solid. Then the kid screams at top volume that she wants to move in. He asks, "Why here?" Her logic. This place has 0 bugs. Plus, there's a roof, so it feels like a fortress to her. She doubles down on the begging. And Dawoon gets it. The poor kid just needs a safe zone. Fine, but you gotta earn your keep. Making the girl super hyped. First quest, prep the field for the Mandrake relocation program. She grabs the tool like a pro, flexing that she's built different. And wow, she wasn't lying. She demolishes the dirt. Dawoon watches, thinking she is 0% subtle about being a cyborg. He drops his intro and asks for her name. She freezes, totally blank. She admits she doesn't have a handle, but she'll invent one based on a flower she saw. "I'm Kim Nari," she shouts, making sure he gets the spelling right. They speedrun the stone fence construction. The little plants are finally vibing in their new VIP section. He's kicking himself for not acting sooner, but freezes. Nari has gone dead silent, wearing an expression that screams something is wrong. "Why the tears?" he demands. Her voice cracks those mandrakes. They trigger memories of her friends. Dawoon is totally baffled. Friends, in that hellscape of a lab, impossible. But her mind flashes back a brutal hunting game in the forest with other freaks of nature. She tells him she spotted a monster that looks like a baby chick. Dawoon shrugs it off. That's just Tuesday around here. He figures a pack of predators is probably ripping it apart right now. Nari shudders, sensing the thing is in agony and seconds away from being a snack. Since it's hurt, Dawoon tests her. "You want to save it." Her programming fights back, splitting her head with pain. He nudges her if she steps in. Maybe the little guy makes it. "Want to go check?" Boom. She screams, "She'll be right back," and blasts into the woods like a rocket. Cut to the carnage, a swarm of mantis nightmares swiping at something. That tiny white fluff ball is getting absolutely wrecked. It's screeching on the dirt, helpless. Suddenly, Nari drops in, screaming at the beasts to back off the little guy. Tears streaming, she locks in. She will save him. The visual shifts, mirroring a memory of a boy sobbing his heart out. His crime, being the best. Now, he's lab rat material. Another memory hits a yellow creature, lying abandoned in the dirt. A flashback shows kids stomping a robot, just for being different. Pure hate. Someone punches the ground, fueled by rage. Desperate screams echo for it to stop. Snap back to reality. The giant bug smacks Nari, sending her flying. "That's it," she snaps. "Bullying the weak. That's trash." She is absolutely fuming now. She roars wrong and dives at the beast. Meanwhile, chill mode Dawoon is inspecting herbs like, "Is this edible?" Nari sprints back to him. She's hyped he finally came home, but panic sets in. She's shrieking. He won't wake up. The white fluff ball is KO'd in her arms, cartoon swirls in its eyes. Dawoon tells her to take a breath. Then it clicks. He recognizes this thing. Nari's losing it, screaming that it's dead. The creature looks rough, completely out cold. She's sobbing. Is he dying? Dawoon steps in, scans it with mana, and drops the verdict. Lucky day. 0 fatal wounds. Its energy just tanked, forcing it to shrink and change color. He confirms it. This is that same immortal beast he threw hands with earlier. But why the downgrade? Nari's stressing. Is he gonna make it? Dawoon explains. The thing is just starving, because it sucks at hunting. He juiced it up with mana. It'll be fine if they leave it. Nari goes quiet, haunted by memories of another abandoned creature. If we bail, he dies, she argues, pointing out how weak he is. Teary-eyed, she begs, "Can I raise him?" She swears she'll train him. Dawoon smirks. "You know that thing gets massive, right?" She promises to put him on a diet. Dawoon finally caves. Fine. She's ecstatic. The creature finally blinks awake, confused. It's drooling, looking around like, Where am I? Suddenly Dowan freezes. He can hear the creature. Out loud, goo. Inner monologue, pure rage. It locks eyes with Dowan. That's the guy who wrecked my family. Nari is clueless, while the beast shakes in its boots. She scoops it up, cheering. He's awake. It's thinking, what is she doing? She squeezes tighter. It screams, let me go, confusing the hell out of Dowan. Dowan is shook. He actually understands it. Nari announces the treatment is done, and she's picked a name, Goo. Cause he coos like a pigeon, Dowan thinks. Solid choice. Goo is offended. You can't just slap a random label on him. He has a name, Nari, sees the tears and assumes he's thirsty. Splash. She dumps a bucket of water on him. Now she's worried he's drenched. Goo is pleading, no more water. Seeing the chaos, Dowan decides to build a shelf to organize this mess. He starts measuring it out, doesn't need to be huge. But when he goes to slice the wood with his knife, the blade bounces off. Dowan is confused. He literally made furniture out of this stuff. Goo pipes up, the color's different, genius. The one you used before was softer, Dowan asks. So different woods have different hardness. Goo freezes. He starts to explain. Obviously the red ones, then stops dead. Wait, did you just understand me? Dowan ignores him, pondering redwood. The beast is on high alert. Dowan decides to test this telepathy link for real. He dives in, but gets walled off by a dark vision. No redwood info here. Goo is stunned. His mind was invaded and blocked. Trembling Goo projects a thought. Can you hear me? Dowan confirms it's not sound, it's like text popping up in his brain. He retorts, isn't it weirder that a monster understands English? Turns out Goo is a high-tier intelligent species. Cutting to the chase, Dowan asks, we've met, right? Goo nods. He was actually looking for him. Dowan's confused. Goo explains, you spared me. I wanted to return the favor just once. Perfect, Dowan grins. I'm cashing that favor in right now. Goo stammers but shakes on the deal. Smash cut to the girl sprinting for her life, terrified. Boom explosions rock the screen as she screams about hating that twisted lab. She hits the dirt hard. Surrounded by a roaring inferno, she's losing hope, gasping that the heat is absolutely unbearable. Another massive blast launches her through the air. She's spiraling, convinced the lab rats have tracked her down. Frozen in terror, she spots a silhouette emerging from the smoke. His scanner locks on target, confirmed as a mechanical entity. The guy steps through the wall of flames like a total boss. Torching a kid isn't exactly the vibe, but he's got orders. He charges up a flame strike. Honestly, it's kill or be killed for him too. He unleashes a scorching inferno right at the helpless girl. The villain screams that he's about to wipe her off the map permanently. She curls up, bracing for the end, but then Cheon Dawoon steps in, blocking the heat. He's annoyed, griping about his unfinished closet and missed lunch. Goo shouts that saving the kid is priority number one. Dawoon's eyes flash. We realize this girl, Kim Nari, is phobic of fire, and definitely isn't your average human. Dawoon decides to snuff out the flames first. Goo is roasting the bad guy, calling him absolute trash. The enemy is stunned but barks at them to get lost. Tick-tock. Dawoon interrupts the villain's monologue. Dude talks way too much. Now the fire guy is seeing red. Screaming that Dawoon is an arrogant jerk, he fires off another blazing attack fueled by pure hate, demanding he move. But Dawoon doesn't even flinch. He just raises a finger. Flash, a blinding beam of energy erupts, heading straight for the loudmouth. The beam eats the fire alive and slams into the enemy. He takes the full hit, brain broken, unable to comprehend that insane power level. The blast sends him flying. As the dust settles, Dawoon turns to Nari, casually asking if she's good now. The little girl wipes her tears, shook that he just deleted the fire. He drops some wisdom: when you're scared of something, you just knock it out cold. To wake up the unconscious baddie, Dawoon literally steps on the guy's face. Zero chill. He yanks the guy up by the hair pop. It's a wig. The dude is stone cold bald with the number 19 tattooed on his forehead. The whole squad is absolutely floored. The scary villain was bald this whole time. And he's just a kid. Sunlight gleams off his chrome dome, really emphasizing the zero hair situation. Nari loses it, bursting into laughter. A bald bad guy is just too funny. Suddenly, he's not a monster anymore. Dawoon falls silent. He realizes this joke of a villain wasn't worth Nari's trauma, or worth losing to. Goo breaks down how telepathy works, sharing memories. Flashback time cut to the creepy lab. A mad scientist cackles maniacally. Zoom in on his twisted grin, light reflecting off his sinister glasses. A slime monster recoils in fear. The doc notes it finally has an ego. He reaches out, hand glowing with ominous blue energy. Just a durability test, he claims. Flash of light. Yeah, that wasn't a friendly checkup at all. Back in reality, Dawoon gives Nari props. Facing fear is a huge step. Now, what to do with Chrome Dome? Goo perches on the guy's head while Nari strikes a power pose. Hands on hips, she announces she's got a master plan. The plan: tie the bald dude under a massive waterfall. Wet villain means no fire, so Baldy isn't scary. Logic 100. She keeps yelling that bald uncle is evil. Dawoon tells her to chill. She pouts, glaring at the big hero. He notes she's bouncing back fast. Goo asks what's up. Dawoon, he's fetching water. It's ramen time. Nari gets hype, screaming about his fish ramen. She asks if the Coco tribe digs noodles too. She cannonballs into the water to hunt. The hanging villain realizes this Dawoon guy is at least an A-rank hunter. While Nari splashes around, Baldy wonders if Dawoon is a legendary shadow hunter. But cooking ramen here, that's insane. Splash, Nari surfaces holding 2 hideous mutant fish. Dawoon says just one. She tries to shove the beast into the pot. The prisoner panics. Boiling that monstrosity is going to smell like death. Nari is vibrating with excitement for dinner, but suddenly freezes. Wait, she hits the brakes. The bald guy, desperate to avoid eating trash, begs to cook for them if they let him down. Spotlight on him. You think this is just instant noodles? Wrong. He opens the packet with the precision of a surgeon. He separates the seasoning packets like they're gold dust. Holding those noodles, this is serious business. His life is literally on the line here. With 2 terrifying auras watching him, he goes for the classic technique. It's the only way he knows. He measures the water with pure instinct. 3 packs. Let's go. Noodles and powder hit the boil simultaneously. He closes his eyes, counting exactly 270 heartbeats for al dente perfection. He lifts the noodles, the essential air bath for texture. He aches for some kimchi to complete the dish, but he smiles. He left it all on the field. A game status window pops up, no regrets. He presents the pot like a Michelin offering. Taste it. Dawoon dives in with his chopsticks. He lifts the fork to his lips, anticipating the bite. Cut to the squad gathered around the table. It's a total vibe check. Suddenly eyes go wide. It's not just food, it's a flavor explosion. They're practically ascending to flavor heaven right now. Nari drops her jaw, asking if humans actually eat this gourmet goodness daily. Even Cheon Dawoon looks shook. Goo, he devours everything and lets out a burp that shakes the room. Total satisfaction. The bald chef struts over chest, puffed out fishing for compliments. Dawoon hits him with a curveball. Name your price, leaving the guy stunned. Dawoon insists the meal was too legendary to be free, offering a wish in exchange. The chef gets all awkward, losing his cool. But then he stammers, realizing his chance. He drops to his knees, begging Dawoon to take him on as a student. He wants those S-tier gains just like the hunter. Dawoon is confused, but the guy swears he's looking at the strongest hunter alive. He's desperate to be the apprentice. He starts pitching his resume, claims his fried chicken game is elite thanks to his dad. He even offers to be the supply mule hauling gear. But Dawoon cuts him off mid-pitch. He asks the real question. Why did you jump Kim Nari? The guy blanks, until the hero whispers the secret she's from the Coco tribe. The realization hits. Tears start streaming. The bald guy yells that it's personal drama, refusing any payment. All he wants is to pass the hunter exam. Dawoon tells him to stand up, and the guy starts sobbing, asking, why? As payment for the feast, the hero agrees to a quick spar. Suddenly, Nari steps up to the plate. She volunteers to fight the bald dude first. She remembers the advice to knock out fear, and she's ready to extinguish some flames. The guy scoffs, calling her weak sauce. To prevent a massacre, the hero pulls out a massive black boulder. Break this first. The chef clocks it immediately. Black iron, harder than diamond. He laughs nervously, saying you need A-rank stats for that. Crack. Invisible force pulverizes the rock. The shockwave alone sends the guy flying. He's sweating, bullets, terrified. He has zero clue what just went down. Nari hops onto a stool, calling out the bald uncle to finally catch these hands. Flashback time. Meet Namki Sok, a natural-born awakened who used to be the main character. Powers unlocked at age 8. A total prodigy. He grinded hard, unleashing major firepower during his exams. Talent plus hustle. Unstoppable. He leveled up fast, basking in fame and living the dream. He aimed for the #1 spot, but life had a plot twist. Suddenly, he's holding clumps of hair. Panic mode engaged. Right when everyone else was powering up. His hairline was retreating non-stop. Early 20s and already rocking the chrome dome. He hit up every clinic, but the docs told him to accept his fate. The hunter breaks down. No cure. The camera pans back to his glory days. Visuals of a handsome, talented star. But the shine faded. He stagnated, failing the hunter exams miserably. Now he's rotting on a couch watching TV in a trash-filled room. Breaking news catches his ear. A famous doctor spilled rare liquid metal on his own head by accident. Plot twist. The doc's hair grew back at age 90. Namki Sok jumps up, hype levels rising. He thinks it's clickbait. But the reporter asks about the baldness cure, and the doctor's response is a gut punch. The scientist claims he's using the metal to build a mech for humanity instead. Kisok screams at the screen in rage. The cure is for humanity, you hack. Days later, a notification hits his phone. The mech went rogue and fled to the demon realm. Determination locked in. He vows to hunt that bot down and pour the metal on his scalp. Cut back to now. Kisuk is face planted in the dirt. Total confusion. Little Kim Nari celebrates the W. He didn't land a single hit. Desperate. He begs Dawoon not to drop him, promising to get good. Dawoon is busy finishing a DIY closet, thanking Gu for the lumber. From a distance, Kisok watches impressed by the guy's chill. He reflects that even after getting wrecked, something shifted. Even in pain, unleashing his fire felt freeing, maybe because he ditched the wig. He demands a rematch with Nari. Gu says his control isn't trash, but Dawoon reminds him Nari is built different. Kisok charges up, screaming he'll take the win. The girl invites the smoke. He blasts his fire attack at max power, but she stops it midair. Shock value maxed her power, transmutes fire into water. Liquefaction. She seizes the opening, jumping in with a heavy hit. The impact slams him into the mountain, leaving a massive crater. Nari is beaming, thanking the uncle for helping her conquer her fear of fire. Slumped in the hole, he thinks this is the ceiling for a B rank. But he refuses to quit. A washed-up hunter doesn't get second chances. He stands up for round 2, nose bleeding profusely. Dawoon checks the time. How long have you been here? 9 days. Dawoon tells him to bounce. Demonic energy is lethal for his rank. But Dawoon drops a truth bomb. Kisuk is sitting on rank A potential. The hunter is shook. Kisuk argues he's been taking losses for 6 years and is totally washed up. Dawoon shuts that down. He tells the guy to never quit. That hits different, leaving the man teary-eyed. Emotional, he vows to grind his hardest and asks Dawoon to witness his rise. A portal rips open. Another hunter checks in, asking if they need anything before rolling out. Kisuk waves by but pauses. Yo, did you see my wig? Dawoon keeps a straight face. Nope, didn't see a thing. Kisuk exits stressed about his missing hairpiece. The portal snaps shut. Nari turns to Dawoon, skeptical. Was that smart? She's worried about a backstab. Dawoon reminds her. You can read memories, right? She confirms the guy's hunger for power is legit. Smirking, Dawoon thinks watching this underdog's journey is going to be pure entertainment. Cut to the next scene. Nari asks how he understands Gu, noticing their crib is pitch black. Dawoon's fix. Install a window. Loading up a strike, he prepares to slice the wood in a single motion, using his skill to carve a flawless opening. Nari is vibing with the new view. The room is finally flooded with light, but Dawoon says they need lights for the night shift. Nari asks how. He explains there's a stone that naturally glows in the dark. Gu asks for the drop location. Dawoon points to the hardcore volcanic region. Gu's face drops, that hellscape is his hometown. Nari is confused. She grabs the squirrel creature and asks what Dawoon is talking about. Dawoon notes, his voice sounds wrecked. He's triggered. Dawoon offers to solo the mission so they don't worry, but Nari ain't having it. She screams she's over her fire trauma and demands to tag along. Seeing her hype, Gu steps up too, saying he's got unfinished business there. Dawoon nods and promises to craft them protective gear. Meanwhile, out in the field, the mandrakes find Kisuk's wig and start throwing hands with it. The scene shifts to the Inferno Zone, thick smoke and absolute desolation. A shadow creature wails in the distance. We touch down in the volcanic zone, a place hunters avoid like the plague. The ash here shreds your skin, and the toxic gas deletes you instantly. It's a mystery zone, and Gu is terrified. But Nari, she's living her best life, casually playing with fire. Gu thinks she's broken. Dawoon explains she's fine, because she's a chimera hunter. He reveals he used to be a monster before respawning in a human body. Dawoon checks on Gu. The creature admits it's not terrible. He likes having a squad to talk to, and thinks they're actually decent people. Nari runs over wanting to chat. Dawoon says he was just curious about the little guy. She gets excited. I'm a local too, but Gu calls her a cheeky brat. Savage. Dawoon warns them the stones are close, right where the lava hits hardest. They push forward. Nari gasps at the massive scale of the crater. The little guy sprints ahead, screaming that they reached the summit. He spots the loot luminous stones, but freezes. There's a giant fire toad nearby. Dawoon looks closer, the monster is weeping. Suddenly, Nari points and screams there's another toad right there. Dawoon realizes the female died while carrying eggs. Gu drops the grim stats with the mom dead, the crater's heat will cook the eggs. Total wipeout. Nari is heartbroken for the widower. Dawoon goes quiet, calculating. He tells Kim Nari to hold position and makes his move. The hunter sprints at the toad. Nari screams, "Where are you going?" Zero hesitation. He charges the grieving monster. The toad spins around, snarling. Gu yells for him to retreat, but Dawoon ignores the warning. The monster blasts a wave of fire. Nari shrieks in terror. Smooth as silk, he activates a skill. He dodges the blast and taps the toad's head, instantly calming it. He commands it to freeze and the beast passes out. Flashback, he used paralysis, poison. It's temporary. Nari yells, panicking. Dawoon says it's all good. He explains he's packing fire toad cells. And since he can't res the dead mom, he used his skill to salvage the eggs. When the dad wakes up, he's confused. Dawoon warns him the eggs are secured, but the beast growls. The hunter is puzzled, wondering what's in the beast's head. Then it clicks, the toad isn't mad. It's saying goodbye to its mate. With its claws, the monster gently touches his lost love one last time. Suddenly, The toad launches into the sky with a massive jump. Nari gasps as it crash lands right next to her, locking eyes with her in pure gratitude. The girl tears up. One last leap, and the fire toad bounds away into the lonely distance. Nari whispers that it said, "Thank you." Dawoon felt that vibe too. Problem solved, he finally grabs a luminous stone. Loot secured, little Nari celebrates. She thinks the stones are gorgeous. Dawoon warns her not to trip and get hurt. Packing the stones, he notices Gu looking rough and asks if the little guy is holding up okay. The beast is throwing a massive tantrum, telling Dawoon he doesn't need a babysitter, all while secretly stashing a parting gift for his squad. Caught red-handed, Gu panics and denies it, claiming monsters don't do friendship. Dawoon smirks, thinking it's adorable that the big guy misses his homies. Gu drops the tough act and admits he's kicking himself for ghosting them. The hunter asks why he bailed on the pack, triggering a flashback. We see Gu in his OG form living his best life but struggling to vibe because he couldn't speak the language of those one-eyed monkeys. He felt totally hollow for being the odd one out, the freak with two eyes. The isolation hit too hard, so he bounced to ride solo. Gu convinces himself nobody misses him anyway. Meanwhile, Nari is going ham, digging a hole, and Gu's clumsy tail accidentally knocks a rock loose. Crack. Nari freezes at the sound. She points down, eyes wide. She just unearthed a monster egg buried in the dirt. Dawoon inspects the damage and realizes the falling rock cracked the shell. He drops some knowledge. The beast inside has to break out on its own. It needs to fight to survive. Nari wants to save it, but Gu is like, nah, bad idea. They have zero clue what kind of nightmare is inside. But Dawoon's brain is already turning. He knows the perfect incubation spot to use as a nest, and his curiosity wins out. He decides to take the risk. Nari hypes up, offering to carry it, while Dawoon reminds Gu this is his mess, but secretly stresses that Nari might get wrecked. With a confident grin, the hunter promises it's all good. Smash cut, they make it back to the hideout, safe and sound. Nari is cradling the egg like a baby when Kisuk pops out. Yo, where you guys been? He tries to play the hero and carry their gear. Dawoon hesitates, but Kisuk insists he's swole enough. He yanks the backpack and immediately buckles. It weighs a ton. Dawoon sighs and orders him to look up. What happened to your mug? Brief detour. Remember Gu's secret gift? It was a pack of instant ramen now totally crushed by accident. Back at the volcano, Gu's old crew discovers the care package on the floor. Confused but hungry, they tear it open and chow down on the raw noodles. Back to the humans, a hunter asks Kisuk about his face. Dawoon comments he didn't realize his boy got jumped. Kisuk tries to flex, joking that Nari is the one who beats him up. Seeing his leader's deadly stare, he pivots fast and announces dinner is ready. Scene shift, Dawoon is carving a glowing stone with surgical precision. Nari peeks over his shoulder curiously. He explains he's crafting a custom chandelier to vibe up the ceiling. Nari's eyes sparkle. You're so big brain, you explain everything so well. She drops a heavy line. You're actually super nice. Just like my dad, recalling how he saved that monster. Dawoon blinks, surprised. Her dad from the Coco tribe cut to a gorgeous golden hour sunset. But Gu is miserable. He's sprawled on the sand, literally melting from the heat, and passes out mid-complaint. He's sawing logs when a massive shadow looms over him. Two glowing red eyes pierce the darkness. Psych, it's actually a swarm of tiny critters launching a surprise raid. One does a sonic spin dash right at him. Boink. The attack bounces harmlessly off Gu's jiggly belly. 0 damage taken. Gu rolls over, annoyed at the wake-up call. Nari asks what the beef is, but Kisuk saves the day. Dinner is served. He unveils the masterpiece handmade fried tofu inari. The man is beaming with pride. It's a simple recipe but a total crowd pleaser. He tells the squad to dig in, playing it cool like, it came out okay I guess. Dawoon isn't letting it slide though. For real, who rearranged your face? Kisuk flushes red. He stammers out a clumsy excuse about hitting the Hunters Association for a promo exam. Dawoon cuts to the chase. So you failed and got into a bar fight. Kisuk cracks. They wouldn't stop roasting my hairline. Dawoon deadpans. Bro, you shaved your head. You aren't bald. Kisuk stands up outraged. Hair loss is a spiritual mystery, he rants. Dawoon ignores the drama. When's the retake? 60 days. Dawoon nods. Time for a training arc. Kisuk's eyes light up. This is it. Step 1, Dawoon says, seriously. Do the dishes. Then scrub all these ash-covered stones until they sparkle. What? Kisuk whines. Dawoon shrugs. Fine. Stay a B-rank scrub forever. Brutal. Dawoon grabs Nari to go fishing, leaving the poor guy drowning in chores. Kisuk is stunned. He watches them stroll away. Then he looks at the dirty plates. Wait. Is this some Mr. Miyagi, genius-level training? His shonen spirit ignites. Everyone thinks he's naturally gifted, but Kisuk knows he's just a grinder. He trusts the hustle. He screams, wait up, boss, and sprints into the forest to catch them. He crashes through the bushes to join them. By the river, Nari pouts. The fish are ignoring my bait. Suddenly, the water churns. Every single fish locks onto Kisuk. The guy lets out a blood-curdling scream. Water monsters are his kryptonite. Use your mana. Dawoon barks. Kisuk panics. I can't do it. Spotting his buddy struggling, Dawoon snatches the luminous stones, a plan already brewing in his mind. He tosses one to Kisuk, telling him to grip it tight. Instantly, the stone erupts with vile dark energy, freaking the hunter out with its raw pressure. That's demonic energy, he screams. Dawoon stays chill, explaining that some stones come with a nasty surprise. He breaks it down that raw filth needs to be purged with refined mana. Dawoon taps the guy's chest, signaling that he's got the juice, just no steering wheel. Suddenly, glowing mana circuits blaze to life across Kisuk's entire body. Dawoon declares, the gateway is open, it's go time. The hunter stares at his trembling palms, and Dawoon commands him to pump mana through them. Kisuk locks in, straining to levitate the stone with sheer will. Teeth grinding, veins popping, he fights to wrangle the chaotic energy. Then a roar of triumph rips through the air, and he finally hoists the stone high. Then reality hits, it was just a drill. Dawoon smirks. Great, now get back to scrubbing those dishes. Instead of complaining, Kisuk is hyped, swearing he'll make those plates sparkle. Cut to nightfall, where the camp is bathed in silver moonlight. Inside the shack, the crew is totally passed out. Wrecked from the grind, Kisuk mumbles in his sleep while Dawoon snoozes peacefully next to Nari in his corner. Gu is wide awake, regretting his early bedtime. His eyes snap open. Nari is creeping through the shadows. Where is she headed at this ungodly hour? Down at the riverbank, Nari stares at the water, looking absolutely heartbroken. She's crushed about her dirty clothes. It's the only gift she's ever gotten from Dawoon. She tries to hype herself up, whispering that a good wash will make it like new. Watching from the brush, Dawoon and Gu realize the heartbreaking truth. She owns nothing else. She scrubs until the stain vanishes, beaming with relief. As she dries the fabric, her smile returns. Mission accomplished. Suddenly, Dawoon steps out. Nari jumps, stammering, Mister, what are you doing here? He plays it cool. Just walking the slime. She nods quickly. Me too, just walking. Dawoon steps closer and asks her to hold still a sec. He weaves a wild creeper into a delicate belt, tucking a flower in as the finishing touch. Nari is mesmerized, whispering that it's beautiful. He smiles, telling her the flower matches her vibe perfectly, and that it's actually her favorite bloom. Suddenly, a blood-curdling shriek rips from the forest, shattering the moment. Nari freezes, trembling. What was that but Dawoon? He just smirks like he scripted the whole thing. Relax, he soothes. Just a steel grasshopper. B-rank trash. As they head back to camp, he asks if she needs gear, shoes, clothes. Nari shakes her head, insisting she loves the outfit she's wearing. Too humble. Cut to Dawoon stepping out of a warp gate into civilization, his mind made up. No way he's letting her live in one outfit. He wanted to bring her along, but she's still too traumatized for crowds. Burning a rare portal stone for a shopping spree. Hilarious. He scans for a boutique, wondering if they're open when a voice pipes up. A grimy street kid pops up offering to guide him for 10,000 won. The kid scans Dawoon up and down, pegging him as a loaded rookie hunter. Got cash. Follow me, he says, taking the lead. I'm doing you a solid here, the kid brags. Dawoon awkwardly thanks him. The kid introduces himself as Oh Bong-soo, and Dawoon gives his name. Bong-soo starts yapping about the cops, then asks, You awakened recently, catching Dawoon off guard. You walked out of that gate empty-handed. Got robbed, didn't ya? Dawoon tries to pivot the mood, complimenting the kid's street smarts. Bong-soo snaps. I'm 17, man. I'm just short because I'm starving. He gestures at some thugs, warning Dawoon to steer clear of District 13. Spade gang territory. They own these streets. And even the cops bailed on that zone. Hearing this, Dawoon's thoughts drift to his old orphanage. Is it still standing? Cut to a shop sign screaming, Buy one, get one free. Inside, the owner is contemplating her life choices running a store in the slums. She stares at the desolate aisles, seriously thinking about quitting. Suddenly, Bong-soo bursts in hollering for the boss. She looks annoyed. Meanwhile, Dawoon browses the racks while Bong-soo hypes him up as a hunter. The woman signals Bong-soo over, dragging him into a corner. She collars him, hissing, You trying to bankrupt me, bringing these deadbeats in here. She points at Dawoon, who's currently lost in the kids section. Bong-soo stammers, But look, he's a looker. She sighs, reminding him she only tolerates this because he resembles her late little brother. Bong-soo claps back, but before they can brawl, Dawoon cuts in. I'll take the lot, he says casually. Flashing a check worth 10 million won, like it's pocket change. Their jaws hit the floor. He actually thinks it's a small amount. The shopkeeper does a total 180 the second she sees the cash, hands clasping together with dollar signs in her eyes. Suddenly, Dawoon isn't just a customer. He's absolute royalty. Throwing him off guard, she hits him with the, What can I get you, your highness vibe. He asks for gear for a little girl and himself, and the lady lights up like a Christmas tree. She immediately declares that kids' fashion is the house specialty. Boom, she whips out this bright yellow dress to start the show, preaching about how lace is non-negotiable drip this season. Next up, a sporty fit for the active Rugrat. Finally, a pink number appears, and she swears this color is mandatory. By the time she takes a breath, the receipt looks like an ancient scroll rolling across the floor. The place looks like a tornado hit. It's sold out signs everywhere, and the owner is wiped but grinning ear to ear. She says he just bought over 100 items, but Dawoon shuts down the delivery offer, saying he'll haul it all. He tosses a bag and a payment to Bongsuk, leaving the kid bug-eyed at the massive tip. They bounce from the shop loaded down with loot, and Dawoon asks for one last solid. Bongsuk leads the way to a local inn, vouching for the spot, clean sheets, safe vibes. Dawoon tells the kid to hang tight and heads inside, dragging that massive sack. Left alone, outside Bongsuk's internal alarm starts ringing. He eyes the cash and the clothes, and the vibes suddenly feel way off, and panic sets in. He thinks about bolting to avoid a kidnapping setup, but then he remembers Boss Park and thinks maybe, just maybe, Dawoon is one of the good ones. Dawoon steps back out, giving the place a thumbs up. He tosses a key to the kid for room number 303. Then he drops the mic 1 full year of rent and meals prepaid. Bongsuk is floored. Dawoon turns to leave, but the kid stammers, "So, am I getting kidnapped now?" Dawoon is genuinely lost at the question, while Bongsuk demands the truth. "We're strangers. Why are you dropping this much kindness on me? It's just too much to process." Dawoon shrugs, saying it reminds him of the old days, and hits him with a peace out, stepping into the portal. Back at base, Nari is waiting. "Where'd you go?" Dawoon grins. "Got a surprise." The hype levels instantly skyrocket, and Goo's jaw drops at the mountain of merch. Nari snatches that yellow dress, immediately screaming about how pretty the haul is. Dawoon tells her to go wild, trying them on, and she zooms into the cabin. Meanwhile, that mysterious egg Goo was hatching, starts vibrating out of nowhere. Dawoon is zen mode folding laundry, oddly therapeutic when Goo suddenly yells for him, telling him to check out the fashion show. Nari steps out in a new dress, striking a pose and feeling absolutely adorable. "Is that the one?" Dawoon asks, but Nari shakes her head. She wants a full runway show. She's having a blast swapping outfits, even doing a spooky ghost impression. Dawoon can't help but smile. Okay, she is seriously cute. Finally, she stomps her foot. Decision made. She waddles out in a chick hoodie, squealing that she loves it because it looks just like Goo. The protagonist gives it a 10 out of 10 and asks if she wants to help with the laundry. She's in immediately, but looking at the pile, Goo panics. "Where are we putting all this drip?" Dawoon smirks, revealing a plan to expand the crib, to build a custom walk-in closet just for her. He says chill, he's already got a guy handling the lumber. Cue a massive explosion rocking the forest exactly where he pointed. Nam Ki-seok walks out of the dust cloud like an action hero, announcing he's ready to grind. He bows, swearing he protected the gear with his life, leaving Dawoon totally baffled. He explains the leather tunic is actually a poison-soaked training uniform. Ki-seok's eyes light up, thinking this is the secret sauce to becoming OP. Without skipping a beat, Dawoon just tells him to wear the fit, shocking the guy. The protagonist barks the order, suit up and go chop wood. Ki-seok goes into full-blown panic mode. Suddenly, the puppy goes nuts, barking something is wrong with the egg. They rush over and see the giant egg shaking like an earthquake, with magma-like cracks spreading across the shell. Dawoon notes the violent thrashing, it's hatching time. Ki-seok dives for cover, terrified it's a disaster rank boss. Nari shakes her head, no way it's gonna be a cutie. Crack. The shell shatters for real, and the two scream in terror. A razor-sharp claw and a scaled tail burst out, tearing the shell apart. With a flickering tongue, all signs pointed to apex predator. But when the dust settles, it's a tiny, super adorable yellow serpent. Talk about a plot twist. Nari is instantly enchanted, while Ki-seok is just scratching his head like, what species is that? The little monster launches off the table, absolutely wired with energy to burn. It leaps into the air. And wait for it, it has chicken legs. Everyone gasps as it sticks the landing right on Ki-seok's face, freezing him in place. Total meltdown. He takes off screaming, bulldozing the wooden frame they just built, with Goo riding his head like a jockey. Cut to Ki-seok struggling to haul logs, wheezing from the poison fumes, wondering how Dawoon is such a tank to wear this stuff. Meanwhile, the protagonist stretches satisfied. Who knew laundry was this chill? Suddenly a yell disturbs the peace, warning that the new critter is devouring the bread. Nari scoops up the little animal, insisting he's obedient. Because he knows she saved him, she decides to name him Sasa, because he looks like a snake. Perfect logic. Sasa is absolutely vibing with the new name, catching a serious case of the zoomies and leaving Nari in the dust. Dawoon watches from the sidelines, narrating the play-by-play. Nari is totally obsessed with the new squad member. He asks about the breed, but even Goo admits he has never laid eyes on a critter like this before. Goo drops a serious red flag. If this little beast hails from the volcanic zone, the mandrakes are in immediate danger. Dawoon looks confused, missing the connection. The camera pans down to little sprouts popping up nearby. Turns out monsters from that biome have a serious craving for leafy greens, and Sasa launches an attack on pure instinct. Gu breaks it down. These things hunt plants with demonic energy, meaning our mandrakes are basically looking like a 5-star buffet to Sasa right now. The creature barrels toward the saplings, ready to feast. But plot twist, he might just be their natural predator, and the mandrakes shift instantly into combat mode. Watching the plants rise up like little warriors, Dawoon realizes Gu called it perfectly. Nari starts panicking, ready to jump in and break up the brawl. She tries to play the peacemaker, but Dawoon holds her back, explaining that in the demon world, the pecking order has to be established the hard way. He tells her to chill and spectate since they are just babies and can't do real damage. Sasa locks eyes with the smallest mandrake sizing up his prey. The tiny plant is visibly trembling. Sasa charges in full throttle, aiming to bully the one that looks like the easiest target. But a second mandrake steps up like a tank, using its twiggy arms to block the hit. The beast manages to deflect, but the defense holds strong. Then the plants execute a tactical formation. Just as predicted, the second mandrake sees an opening and launches a counteroffensive. It smacks Sasa right in the face with a stick. Trying to clap back, the beast parries with his tail and flashes a cocky little smirk. But Gu warns him not to get too arrogant. Out of nowhere, the third mandrake flanks him, looking for a blind spot. While Sasa is distracted, the third plant lands a heavy hit from behind, proving this trio is not messing around with their team combos. The veggie squad manages to box Sasa in, leaving him 0 exit routes. Realizing he can't win, the beast gives up and starts bawling his eyes out. Shook by taking his first L, Nari rushes in to comfort the loser. Dawoon notes that the mandrakes definitely took the W today. Kisak admits the mini-battle was weirdly cinematic, and Gu nods in approval. With the entertainment over, Gu snaps into boss mode and orders Kisak back to the grind. Kisak questions if Gu is even human. Then the scene hard cuts, transporting us to a vast crystal blue ocean under a blazing sky. Suddenly, a massive entity erupts from the water, soaring toward the sun like a rocket. It is revealed to be a hybrid, half man, half dragon. He is rocking massive wings and a shredded physique. With a wild look and a fang necklace, this guy radiates pure main character energy. Back to reality. The closet project is finally done, with every log perfectly locked in place. We get a montage of Kisiok sweating buckets to get it done, all while Gu was screaming at him to hustle. Nari and Sasa pitched in too, slathering green sap on the wood to seal the deal. They were actually having a blast. Meanwhile, Dawoon went full organizer mode, arranging their entire library on a fresh new shelf. When the heavy lifting wraps up, the old leather tunic gets tossed aside. Kisiok lets out a primal scream of relief. He is celebrating the end of this boot camp from hell. Tears are streaming down his face after grinding for 48 hours straight with 0 sleep. He followed every order to the letter, but is still terrified he messed up. Dawoon steps in and finally gives the guy some validation, telling him the build is way better than he imagined. Suddenly, Nari sniffs the air. The new closet smells amazing, like a field of flowers. A wave of zen washes over everyone as they realize it is the scent of lavender. Our protagonist explains Gu picked aromatic wood to keep their gear smelling fresh. Even the mandrakes are vibing out, soaking up the aromatherapy. Sasa curls up in a corner and passes out, proving the lavender works on monsters too. Dawoon asks where the name Sasa came from, and Nari points to Kisak. Dawoon presses for details on the naming process, but adds they can totally change it if it sucks. Kisak suggests snake D-word, leaving the protagonist completely speechless. Nari gets hyped and pitches Piaki, but Dawoon thinks it sounds too similar to Gu. Gu interrupts with some overly sophisticated nonsense. Something about footprints in a drawer. The protagonist ignores him, and Gu reveals his suggestion is Rocky Mountain Hoof. Realizing the other options are trash, everyone agrees. Sasa is the winner. Gu asks what the game plan is, now that they have upgraded the base. The squad looks curious. With a grin, Dawoon says the dynamic has shifted now that they are a real family. He wants to build a fortress-level fence, so intruders stay out when he is away. Kisak doubts anyone would even come out here, but the protagonist warns that an S-rank monster could spawn at any moment. For defense, Dawoon says they need the heavy-duty stuff, material soaked in demonic energy from the coast. He explains that deep underwater lies yellow quartz, a mineral tougher than anything else on the map. The protagonist is already picturing a fence made of glowing stones, giving the base a cozy campsite vibe. Without wasting a second, he tells the team to gear up, because they are raiding the coastal zone immediately. Kisak goes into full panic mode. That map is legendary for being a death trap. Seeing an opening to bail, he claims he needs to vent some energy and can't join. He begs Dawoon to watch his back. The coast is a no-go zone for anyone under A rank. More importantly, 2 disaster-level bosses control that entire server. Kisak is shocked. Dawoon doesn't know the lore. They are chimera hunters who escaped a lab. He describes them as nightmares with bird heads. Despite the chaos, their bodies still looked human. Then the camera pans up, revealing that winged beast owning the sky, soaring like a total god. Out of nowhere, a hunter squad clocks the monster. Prep the tracker, they scream. One guy instantly manifests a halo of golden energy. He winds up and hurls the energy ring with everything he's got. It tears through the air like a homing missile straight for the beast. Bullseye. The sky lights up with a blinding explosion direct hit, but instead of fighting the monster dips, it just flies off. The squad thinks the rumors were all hype and the beast is weak, but the leader holds them back. Trackers active, he commands. We trail them. Meanwhile, someone is confused. How are they still alive with human bodies after 60 years? His boss cuts him cold, because they're failures. Time to clean up the mess. But suddenly the lookout guy gasps, totally shook. Captain, you gotta see this. Peering through the scopes, his blood runs cold. The creature wasn't running away, it was pulling a U-turn. He starts freaking out. That thing is dive-bombing them at Mach speed. The leader screams, shields up, now, defensive formation. The creature drops like a meteor coming in hot to smash right through their pathetic defense. Crack. The barrier shatters like glass. The impact sends the leader ragdolling across the field. Dust clears, leaving the squad absolutely stunned. One hit. That's all it took to destroy their ultimate defense. As the monster hovers for a second strike, the hunters realize they are cooked. Suddenly, a second monster crashes the party. The two beasts collide in midair and slam into the ground, tearing at each other brutally. The leader is losing his mind, screaming for order. But then the camera zooms in. It's little Nari, literally throwing hands with a monster. "Stop hurting the weak," she screams. The beast pauses, totally baffled. Is this tiny girl a chimera too? We cut to Dawoon and Nari standing side by side, staring down these colossal nightmares. Zero fear, pure aura. Nari calls the Birdman a bully, but Dawoon's looking at the wreckage thinking, pretty sure you're the one bullying him, kid. A hunter scans Dawoon. Reading a mechanical signature, he warns. Dawoon curses internally. He totally forgot about the tracker on Nari. Things just got complicated. Dawoon looks at the Birdman and shakes his head. Of all the people to run into it, had to be this guy. He steps toward the winged beast. Don't recognize me, Dawoon asks calmly. We used to be roomies. The creature freezes, completely flabbergasted. Dawoon smirks. Honestly, I figured you were dead long ago. Recognition flashes in the monster's eyes. Meanwhile, a hunter whispers, this guy is bad news. We need to bounce. But Dawoon knows he can't let them report back. He decides to clear the board. No witnesses. Click. The Birdman finally remembers. Flashback to the dark cell, that distinct scent he could never scrub from his memory. They were lab rats together. Only they know that smell. The creature whispers a name, number 17. That goes way back. We cut to 66 years ago. A dark forest outside the TDA lab. Searchlights slice through the darkness. Guards are screaming, get them. A terrified little girl clutches her brother tight. I'm freezing, she whimpers. He pushes forward on mangled legs, adrenaline pumping, but doubt creeps in. Was running a mistake? A dark thought hits him. Maybe he should have left the girl behind to save himself. The Birdman looks at her with pity. She didn't fully transform. Her wings are broken, useless little things. She whispers that his wings feel like a hearth, but he brushes it off. She just needs to keep running. He screams at Gia to hang in there just a little longer. The tree line is inches away. Suddenly, he skids to a halt, frozen. Someone is standing there, someone who might be their only ticket out of this mess. It's number 17 blocking the path. The Birdman looks like he's seen a ghost. The kid speaks up. He knows about the lab's nasty side effects. He drops a bombshell even if they bolt. Now a kill switch spell is going to blow them up in 3 days flat. The Birdman snaps, snarling that the kid knows nothing about their living hell. Smash cut to a flashback, painful memories flooding back. His sister is on her knees, sobbing, begging just to leave. She doesn't want forever. She just wants one day of feeling human again. Wrapping his wings around her, he wonders, does the quantity of life matter or the quality? Is surviving worth it if you aren't really living? No. He would trade it all for 24 hours of freedom. Pumping himself up, he glares at 17 and growls, cut the crap and fight me. The kid doesn't flinch. He just stares daggers with a dead serious look. Then things get wild. Number 17 rips open a massive dimensional rift right behind him. The Birdman's jaw hits the floor. Where did you snag a portal stone? He gasps. The boy breaks it down in the demon realm. It's do or die. Human cells rot or monster cells take over. If he wants freedom, embracing the monster, life is the only play. Plus that pesky detonation spell, it's a total dud over there. Can a human make it? Maybe. If he hoards enough mana to shield his body from the demonic corruption, he stands a ghost of a chance. The Birdman is sketchy about the help, but the sound of armored boots stomping closer forces his hand. I'm in. He steps forward, but the boy stops him. 4 years in a cell together, and we never swapped names. He introduces himself as Yubayom. He asks for his cellmate's handle. Eyes lighting up with a spark of hope, the Birdman reaches out. Cheon Dawoon. Flash forward to right now. Dawoon is staring down two hunters icy cool, asking for a name check. The squad leader is baffled, totally blanking on why he is even there. Dawoon cracks open a portal, casual as ever. He commands them to wipe their memories of this encounter. Gu is dying to know the trick. Turns out his cells have a built-in delete history button for other people's brains. A whole saga later, he turns to the Birdman and drops the name Yubayom. The guy is stunned he actually remembered. Little Nari tugs on Dawoon's shirt. Hey mister, are you buddies with Uncle Sparrow? Dawoon nods, leaving Yubeom confused. The kid beams, chirping that her clan and the Sparrows are basically best friends. Yubeom is totally lost. Nari says, sorry for thinking he was a baddie, but then her stomach growls like a beast. Feed me. Yubeom whispers, is that your kid? Cut to a massive beachside mansion that looks exactly like a gargantuan bird's nest. Dawoon gives props to the architecture sick nest bro. Then he slides a bowl over. Chow time. Tell me what you think. It is giant grilled shellfish slathered in demon realm, plants that melt just like rich butter. Little Goo dives in face first. His eyes pop open. The flavor is a total knockout. It hits him like a tidal wave of freshness, like biting into the ocean itself. Nari is in heaven, feeling the shellfish practically boogie on her taste buds. Dawoon notes the secret sauce is red moss, nature's seasoning. Yubeom smiles at the happy eaters, telling them to slow down. Suddenly, pure terror strikes the birdman. His pupils dilate. Dawoon clocks the fear instantly. His friend is shaking like a leaf, voiceless. Plot twist. It is just Nari poking him with a butter knife, screaming for seconds. If I catch them, will you cook them? She asks, eyes sparkling. She sprints for the surf with Goo and Sasa, vowing to snag 10 more. Yubeom watches them go. Crazy that those immortal cells brought you back, he muses. Dawoon gets real. You still plotting vengeance against the TDA lab. Sometimes he admits. But life is pretty chill right now, so I am playing it cool. He flips the script on Dawoon. We still have those ticking time bombs inside us. Remember, Dawoon frowns, looking concerned. Why hasn't your head morphed back yet? The birdman smiles, totally at peace. I can fix it, but I won't. Gia's face changed. I can't let her feel like the odd one out. Dawoon goes stone cold, serious. One last question. You know the score, right? He drops the hammer. His friend has a month left, tops. The birdman nods. Yeah, I figured. Yubeom drifts into memory lane. It was brutal at first. I had to hoard mana just to keep breathing, balancing it against the demonic energy. But we had a good run, living in peace, meditating side by side. Then Gia's mana core went haywire. Her demonic energy turned rabid. I forced my way in to save her, and wrecked my own core in the process. He sighs. Now, she knocks herself out with poison berries, just to suppress the evil. Dawoon's eyes light up. Mandrake roots. That is the cure. Cut to a pitch-black cavern. Something small scuttles in the dark. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream echoes. Gia's body begins to warp and twist. Her body convulses violently, as that crimson demonic energy swallows her whole. Yubong is watching in pure horror, absolutely losing it as he asks Dawoon if survival is even an option here. But our guy stays ice cold, explaining he majored in pharmacology back in the lab and just needs some mandrake extract to fix this mess. Cut to the mandrake, a literal plant monster that screams like a banshee when you yank it. Even though their roots look like dried up garbage, they're actually hiding some insane power. These things feast on demonic energy and flip it into pure vitality, making them the ultimate cure for a mana curse. Dawoon flashes a grin, noting that creating these little horrors was a genius move, and decides to go farm some. But Yubong snaps him back to reality. He needs a certified alchemist, and he can't exactly stroll into the human world looking like a cursed beacon. He insists his buddy can't roll solo on this one. Since the curse is still active, Dawoon decides to leave the kids with Yubong, who immediately starts panicking about being broke. That's when the protagonist manifests a massive backpack out of thin air, leaving the birdman completely shook. He casually mentions he packed it with hunter gear, which should be enough to pay the bills. With the prep work done, Dawoon drops a confident smile and heads out. Scene switches to the city streets where someone confirms Dawoon's target. It's Obongsu acting as his personal guide, asking if he's looking for top-tier alchemy. The kid says to trust the process because the Alchemy Association just opened a branch right here in the slums. Dawoon notices the weights strapped to the kid's arms and asks what's up. The boy says he's grinding for stamina because his dream is to get swole like Dawoon, which actually catches our hero off guard. The kid admits he's a huge fanboy because Dawoon entered the demon realm with 0 powers, just raw physical stats. After a bit of a trek, Bongsu gets hyped, announcing they've reached the spot. He mentions a new manager just transferred in, a guy named Mr. Kim who's rumored to be cracked at his job. Dawoon glances to the side, his instincts flaring as he spots something coming down the road. The guide points out the manager, who looks absolutely cooked while stressing over a phone call. Turns out the poor guy is getting harassed by loan sharks again, which is apparently just a Tuesday around here. The lore is that he used to work at the prestigious Golden City branch, but got demoted to this dump. Dawoon assumes the guy messed up, but Bongsu shuts that rumor down fast. He explains that back in Golden City, one of the higher-ups was embezzling subsidy funds. The kid recalls it was Director Ann, a notorious snake known for stealing credit. When manager Kim tried to be a whistleblower, he got labeled a troublemaker and exiled. Back in the present, Bongsu waves him down, and the manager clocks him instantly. He introduces Dawoon, mentioning his friend is hunting for a skilled alchemist. Dawoon is skeptical, thinking high-level talent doesn't usually hang out in the slums. The manager is just happy to see them, thinking Bongsu is such a wholesome neighbor. The kid heads off to go train and the manager invites Dawoon inside. Inside the shop, an employee is whining because only low-rank scrub hunters ever visit. He's totally checked out on his career, when suddenly the door swings open. The manager walks in with Dawoon and the assistant lazily stands up to greet them. But Dawoon cuts the pleasantries, stating he needs an A+ rank alchemist to handle his request. The manager looks doubtful, claiming they don't have the materials for that kind of tier in the slums. Dawoon asks, will this work, and drops something that leaves the manager paralyzed in shock. It's radiating dense, heavy demonic energy. No doubt about it, mandrake roots. Both alchemists are losing their minds. They've never seen roots this fresh and pristine. Dawoon says he'll pay with items from the coastal region and asks for a price check. He starts pulling black pearls and rare corals out of his bag, leaving the manager with his jaw on the floor. The guy is getting emotional. Even headquarters has never seen legitimate S-rank black pearls. To make things chaotic, a giant demon realm shellfish is still alive inside the bag and clamps down on the assistant. To top it all off, he reveals red moss, a super rare ingredient essential for high-level potions. Dawoon asks if that covers the tab, but the manager says this haul is worth more than the entire building they're standing in. He warns he'll need the heavy-duty valuation gear for loot this god tier. While the assistant scrambles away, Dawoon spots something odd, and his suspicion meter spikes. He points to a jar on the shelf, but the manager waves it off, saying that Mandrake has been dead for 10 years. The man says he kept it as a souvenir, but Dawoon insists it's still kicking. The manager is confused, until a blue aura starts flaring from Dawoon's hands. He proves that the second it gets a taste of mana, the creature snaps back to reality. The manager panics, realizing it was just in a coma from starving for energy. But right as he says, that's impossible. 3 shady figures darken the doorway. It's Director Ann, that corrupt slimeball, wearing a nasty grin, flanked by 2 goons. He mocks the shop and the trembling manager stammers, asking what he's doing here. The director reveals he heard a rumor that something legendary just landed in the slums. The manager despairs, realizing the assistant must have snitched on them because they arrived way too fast. But the villain starts bragging, claiming his twin subordinates have elite tracking abilities. The director turns his gaze to Dawoon, asking if he's the one holding the goods. He introduces himself as Director Ann and tries to poach him for Golden City with a flashy promise. Dawoon looks annoyed he was actually vibing with Manager Kim until this clown showed up. The director pushes a contract across the desk, desperate to seal the deal, but Do-won completely ignores the paper. His eyes lock onto a distinct mole on the man's face, sparking a sudden realization. What's your connection to Deok? Do-won asks bluntly. The director bursts into manic laughter, slamming his hand on the table. That legend, he was my grandfather. Do-won sneers, thinking, talk about a rotten bloodline. The scene warps into a dark flashback, revealing the twisted history of that family. A cruel man towers over a trembling child, Do-won mocking him. Looking for mommy, little monster, he cracks a whip, threatening to rip open a portal right there. I'll toss you straight into the demon realm. Go beg your useless parents to save you. Snap back to reality. Do-won isn't a helpless kid anymore. Boom. A shockwave of blue aura erupts from Do-won, ragdolling the director across the room. The man crashes hard into the floor, totally dazed. Do-won looms over him like a predator. You're exactly like him, he spits, using power to crush the weak and taking whatever you want. His eyes go cold, terrified Gijong to the bone. Think carefully before you answer. Does TDA laboratory still exist? Gijong scrambles backward on the floor, stammering, I've never heard that name in my life. Do-won leans in. The illegal facility, where An Bokdok was the head honcho. Gijong snaps back, finding his voice. Don't insult the dead, he dedicated his life to science. We see a clip of the old man holding a shiny peace prize. Do-won smirks. Right. Slaughtered a bunch of kids, then played the saint publicly. I thought he'd last longer. Do-won muses darkly. Was it the fall from the window that finally did him in? Gijong freezes, panic flooding his face. How does this stranger know classified intel? We see a vision of the grandfather plummeting to his doom. I pushed him, Do-won reveals casually. Flashback to the silhouette of a small boy framed in the shattered window, watching gravity take its course. He wanted to toss us kids into a portal, Do-won explains. I just beat him to the punch. Do-won offers a chilling deal. I'll let you investigate your grandfather's legacy at TDA. I found his grandson after all. My experiments started at age 9, full monster mode by 20. His memories of that era are a blurry mess of agony. Back then, he survived in a savage world with 0 rules. Kill or be killed. No logic, just raw bloody instinct. He was a beast without reason. Cut to the present office, Do-won sighs, realizing how much time has slipped by since those hellish days. Suddenly, Manager Kim busts in hyped up. Sorry for the wait. He drops 2 vials of purified elixir on the table. Top-tier ingredients, he beams. Do-won pays up immediately, then drops a bomb. I want a personal contract. Just you and me. Simple deal. I hunt the materials. You cook 'em up. The manager looks like he's seen a ghost, totally floored by the offer. You could buy a skyscraper with your cut. Do-Won adds. Suddenly, the guy starts bawling his eyes out. Do-Won's like, what? I'm from the gutter, Kim sobs. We see a flashback of his parents taking cash from sketchy loan sharks just to survive. I worked my fingers to the bone to pay off debt and got nowhere, he cries, a total emotional wreck. How can I ever repay this, he asks between sobs. Do-Won shrugs. Chill, I'll need a favor down the line. We're good. Cut to the open sky. Do-Won heads back to base, praying things haven't gone sideways while he was gone. Touchdown. But the ground is soaked in blood. Big mistake. He spots Birdman's battered body lying in the dirt. Should have known Gia would snap, he thinks. Tiny Sasa pleads from his pocket. Gia, control yourself. It's useless. The skull-masked berserker just roars, running on pure blinded rage, unable to hear a thing. She lunges, grabbing Birdman and throwing him like a rag doll. Slam. He hits the dirt with bone-crushing force. Dust clouds explode on impact. He's embedded in a small crater, realizing it's too late to make a move. Gu rushes into the scene, panic in his eyes. Uncle Yu alive. Nari shrieks. Is he hurt? Gu snaps. Of course he's hurt. Even broken Birdman grits his teeth. I promised Do-Won. He refuses to stay down because he owes Do-Won everything for saving their skins back in the day. Flashback. He unleashes a barrage of feather missiles. He preps the finisher, whispering goodbye. Find peace in the next life. But just as he strikes, a crimson energy core rips out of her body. K-boom. The core detonates into a massive sphere of blinding light, catching everyone off guard. Mid-air, Do-Won whips around, startled. What the hell is that giant thing floating on a pink bubble? She's out cold. Do-Won notes. Gu yells, that's my sister. Do-Won snaps back. You got a better plan. Birdman stammers, trying to defuse the tension. Did you get the cure? Do-Won flashes the 2 potions. Give one to her. The other's for me. Cut to nightfall. A crackling campfire illuminates the group. Vials lie empty on the grass. The girls are passed out while Gu happily munches on snacks unbothered. Suddenly, a yellow eye snaps open in the shadows. Everyone tenses up, but it's just a false alarm. Nari is still sawing logs, snoring away, but Gia stirs fingers, grazing her mask. Was that all a nightmare? She freezes for a split second, eyes scanning her surroundings. The fire crackles, lighting up the Birdman and Do-Won, who clocks her awake instantly. Panic mode engaged, she scrambles back and screams, demanding to know who these strangers are. Nari rubs the sleep from her eyes, asking if Aunt Sparrow is up, totally confusing Gia. The kid is just hyped. Gia is okay, but Gia keeps grilling Do-Won. He completely ghosts her question, barking an order to check her mana haul. The command leaves her stunned. She clutches her chest and realizes the mana flow is stable. Shock hits her hard while her brother demands answers about these people. Then it clicks. He remembers her obsessed ramblings about meeting him. A flashback flickers, and she gasps. Is that number 17? She nudges her brother to confirm, and he nods. Yeah, that's the guy. The Birdman admits it without hesitation. This dude just saved their skins. Again. Do-Won kills the vibe, immediately asking about Red Moss with zero chill or empathy. Gia shakes off the tension and finally drops the mask. Beaming with a genuine smile, she thanks him for the ultimate save. Suddenly, Nari spins around, pointing at the water. What is that? The kid bolts toward the shoreline, screaming about some blinding glow beneath the waves. Gia explains it's a sea fairy, but the name goes right over Nari's head. Rumor has it they're straight-up sea monsters, just nicknamed for their looks. The kid is mesmerized. Gia notes they vanish at sunrise. That info sparks a light bulb in Do-Won's brain. Follow the fairies. Find the yellow quartz. How long till dawn? Do-Won asks. Birdman shrugs. Any minute now. Smirking, Do-Won decides it's time to get wet. It's been a minute since his last swim. Smash cut to a sterile room, where a guy in a lab coat is hunting for a missing mechanical beast. A lackey reports it's near the coast, because the low-tier hunters totally flopped. He adds that even the A-rankers who went down there came back with their memories wiped. A phone buzzes on the desk. Caller ID. Executive Director Eun Gi-jong. The director gets straight to the point. You know anything about a TDA research lab? The man plays dumb, never heard of it. He gets defensive, stuttering that his institute is legit, not some shady operation. Alone again. He recalls Professor An Bak-yak's advice about being an honest researcher. He grins like a total psycho. Han Myung-do whispers he never forgot the lessons as he ends the call. But now he's paranoid. How did that illegal lab name leak from the grandson's mouth? A knock breaks his train of thought. Come in, he barks. A researcher bursts in, clutching a briefcase like it's gold. Director, the plan worked. He steps closer to explain. The liquid metal and mandrake fusion was a success. He pops the case, revealing their twisted creation, the liquid metal mandrake. The director loves it, knowing mandrakes are elite trackers. Mixing that with liquid metal's bonding skills, genius. Hype levels through the roof, he triples the bounty, and demands the elite hunters as soon as possible. He vows to reclaim his masterpiece, Little Nari, no matter the price tag. The scene jumps to the beach. Birdman stands guard, arms crossed, staring down the ocean. He notes the necklace is quartz and calls the creator a total weirdo. Back at the fire, Dawoon drops an invite to his place. "I've got a killer chef," he says. Birdman gives him a skeptical look and asks if he lives in the demon realm. Dawoon shrugs, it's chill there, and asks why they can't visit the human world. He asks if Birdman wants to return. The question hits hard. A flashback shows nothing but trauma, yet Birdman wonders if things have shifted. Then Dawoon drops a bombshell. He might be able to lift the curse. Birdman freezes. Dawoon mentions alchemist manager Kim, a wizard in that field. The plan is to ask him to research the spell, warning Birdman to mull it over, but keep expectations low. Birdman goes quiet, letting the offer sink in. "Why do you keep helping us?" he asks. "We haven't done anything for you." Watching the siblings made him wonder if there's something real out there, something bigger than just surviving. Day by day, helping them might just give him the answer. Cut to the next morning on the sand. Birdman senses danger. Something's coming up. Suddenly, a massive entity is yanked from the water with god-tier strength. Gia screams at her brother to grab the rope she's tossing. He catches it confused. "What is this thing?" "Pull! Put your back into it," she yells. He groans. It's insanely heavy as his feet drag through the sand, carving a deep trench. A giant net breaches the surface, bursting with quartz. Birdman's jaw drops, asking if he mined the whole ocean. Meanwhile, Dawoon and Nari stroll out of the surf looking fresh. "Nice swim," Dawoon remarks casually. "Totally," Nari chirps. The panel reveals they were diving deep in the abyss. We kick things off with a magical overload, sea fairies swarming everywhere. Wham! Nari gets a sparkly surprise right to the dome as one lands on her. Turns out this isn't just a hangout. Their crib looks like a straight-up underwater palace. Nari is ready to bounce and head back home. But the guide drops the big logistical nightmare. How on earth are they going to haul a mountain of heavy quartz all the way back to the forest zone? Dawoon says he needs a minute to brainstorm, but suddenly snap, a sound cuts through the air. His eyes shoot skyward, catching something huge. A massive technicolor bird dominates the skyline instantly, grabbing his focus. Dawoon clocks the beast immediately, but he's confused. Why is a parrot beak cruising solo like that? Nari's eyes sparkle. So pretty, but Gia shuts that down fast. That thing is a majestic nightmare. Beautiful from a distance, but up close, it's pure violence. Basically, these birds are the apex predators nobody touches. Cue Dawoon's signature evil smirk. He needed a cargo truck, and Mother Nature just delivered the perfect ride. Cut to black. Back at base, a poor mandrake is trembling on the floor. Meanwhile, Nam Ki-sok is in the zone, meditating hard with a crackling blue aura wrapping around his frame. He focuses inward, feeling the surge. His monocore, it's swole now, definitely bigger than before. A confident grin spreads across his face. Hitting A rank isn't just a fantasy anymore. It's the new reality. He wonders when the boss will return, but suddenly the vibe shifts. Something strange is coming. A tiny metallic mandrake glares daggers at him, freaking the poor guy out. Then thwack. A random hand shoots out of nowhere and flicks the metal beast like a bug. Enter the villain squad, 3 dudes decked in black. One boots the creature and casually threatens to melt it into slag. Total jerk move. The leader locks eyes with our boy and finally realizes they have an audience. Recognition flashes. They clock Nam Ki-sok instantly. Immediately, the roasting begins, clowning his bald head and his fit. Ki-sok goes into full panic mode. He knows exactly who these bullies are. Flashback time, these guys made his life a living hell in the past. He's confused and desperate. What are they doing here? Suddenly, Ki-sok sees mandrakes spawning in front of him, ready to throw hands. The intruders don't see threats. They see wild dollar signs walking around. They're already calculating the payout. The leader creeps forward, doing that creepy here kitty kitty routine to lure the little guys. Ki-sok snaps out of it. He has to protect them. His master loves these weird veggies. But then the alpha mandrake stomps the ground hard. Roar. A primal scream of rage rips through the clearing. Boom. A massive shockwave of blue energy detonates, launching the 3 bandits into the air like ragdolls. They slam into the dirt, coughing in the dust cloud. They're shook, wondering if an earthquake just hit, or if the plants just went nuclear. Gia and her brother pull up, totally confused by the unconscious intruders. Smash cut to the giant parrot in the sky. The poor bird is gassed, sweating profusely. Nari is complaining about the laggy service, while Dawoon realizes he might be pushing the engine a little too hard. Back on the ground, Ki-sok is spiraling. He spots 2 imposing figures approaching and freezes. His brain screams disaster-class monsters from the coast. Then it hits him. Big brother Dawoon and Nari went that exact direction. Terror hits him like a truck. Did something horrible happen to his squad? Are they gone? He considers teaming up with the bullies just to survive. But before he can move snatch, the chimera grips his skull and asks Yu Dawoon's chef. Ki-sok hits the deck, screaming his lungs out. A talking monster. He gathers his crumbs of courage and stammers. Do you know Big Brother? The Birdman nods. Yeah, Dawoon's our homie. Kisuk's brain officially short-circuits. Total confusion. He glances at the downed hunters on the ground. A light bulb goes on. Oh, the tables have turned. A devilish grin creeps across his face. It's payback time. He points a finger and yells, "Those thieves are trying to jack Dawoon's mandrakes. Get 'em." Time jump. 1 hour later, the forest is peaceful. A little too peaceful. Suddenly, K-boom, a massive explosion rocks the clearing, sending dirt flying. Dawoon and Nari make a superhero landing. Dawoon sighs, "No place like home, baby." The giant bird face plants into the dirt, completely wrecked from carrying that heavy quartz. Dawoon gives it a pat. "Good job, buddy. Take a nap." The two hitchhikers tumble off the bird's back. One is green in the face, complaining about serious air sickness from the altitude. But then he freezes. Eyes pop open. He spots the 3 hunters tied to a tree like Christmas decorations nearby. Dawoon walks up, squinting. 3 A-rank hunters trying to steal veggies. That smells incredibly sus. The Eagle Man steps up to spill the tea on the situation. Meanwhile, his partner pulls a distraction move, offering Nari a house tour to get her out of earshot. As the girls walk away, the truth comes out. Hanbit Institute hired these goons to track down Nari. Dawoon's eyes narrow. Hanbit, the same sketchy lab that tagged Kisok. He knew hunters would come eventually. Nari has a special tracker on her. But Dawoon pauses. "Wait, we were in the coastal zone. How did they find us? That makes 0 sense." The monster holds up a wriggling liquid metal creature in his hand. "Here's the snitch right here." Dawoon puts it together. Those scientists fused mandrake DNA with liquid metal to create a homing pigeon. The beast instinctively returned to the forest, and straight to their base. These guys are relentless. Dawoon clicks, his tongue annoyed. He needs a fix fast. But the mandrakes are getting rowdy. The big mama is getting in Dawoon's face, demanding he return her kidnapped relative. He tries to hand over the metal blob, but she screams no, she's not buying it. Then it hits him. He still has that other one stashed in his pocket. How did she even smell that? The Eagle Man asks where he snagged it, and Dawoon shrugs. "I was saving this little guy for an alchemist friend." Flashback to the past. Manager Kim is an absolute wreck, sobbing like a baby while handing over the creature. He begs Dawoon, pleading with him to keep it safe. Dawoon accepts the mission cool as ice. Snap back to the present. The mandrakes are already busy, frantically digging holes to plant themselves like little frantic farmers. But the vibes are off for the 2 new guys. They stand there looking depressed, hating the new digs. The brown mandrake just gives up and buries itself face first in the dirt. Finally settling into its cozy corner, it starts to glow up. Dawoon sees they'll survive this and immediately pivots, asking, "Where is Nam Kisok?" Right on cue, a desperate scream of Big Brother cuts through the air. Dawoon looks up and boom, the bird woman is diving from the sky. She's got a package, it's Kisok. He's screaming his lungs out, relieved to be back. He tackles Dawoon with a massive bear hug, totally worried, but Dawoon just stares. The guy looks like trash. Turns out Kisok got chewed up by fish because he was too busy trying to be nice to his new friends. Kisok swears he'll cook up a feast if they just wait a sec. But then he freezes. He slowly turns around and spots the giant blue bird chilling nearby. Panic mode engaged. He screams, asking why there's a massive cockatoo in the base. Dawoon tells him to chill out, promising to drop the lore later. Right now, they need food. Little Nari, eyes wide with curiosity, demands to see the menu. The camera pans over to the metal mandrake, looking super lonely and sad, planted all by itself in the soil. Nari tiptoes over to the shy creature, which is hiding its face. She reaches out, her finger glowing with magic, and gently taps its leaf. She flashes a sweet smile, trying to comfort it. Suddenly, food is ready. The birdman screams like a hype man. Kisok's masterpiece is served. It's a gourmet-level curry rice with kimchi. Kisok is flexing hard, explaining how he turned basic market ingredients into gold. He poured his soul into this, stirring the pot for an hour so it wouldn't burn. The squad sits down, and Kisok waits breathless. He needs that validation. The bird woman dives in first, awkwardly shoving the spoon toward her bone mask. The reaction is insane. It's so good, they're acting like it's the best thing ever. Dawoon thinks he's watching a comedy sketch. He takes a bite, but then he notices Nari. She's silent, plate untouched. He asks what's wrong, and she murmurs that she's lost her appetite. She heads off to sleep, and Dawoon realizes the guilt about the chimera is eating her alive. Meanwhile, the new mandrakes are still tragic, stuck in the dirt. One looks away with a teary face, totally hating its life. But the birdmen, they're raving about the food, joking that they're eating like pigs instead of birds. Dawoon suggests building a fence to work off the calories, and they're instantly on board. But suddenly the air shifts. Dawoon feels a dark energy and freezes a portal just ripped open. Nari is being dragged toward it. In her head, she thinks her presence puts the mister in danger. She makes a heartbreaking choice to leave. Convinced she needs to go back to the lab, Dawoon sprints toward her, screaming Kim Nari with pure desperation in his voice. Tears streaming down her face, she whispers a final goodbye, calling him Mister one last time as the portal swallows her. She's resigned to her fate, crying as she lets the darkness take her to protect him. She bids farewell, hearing his desperate screams. But Dawoon isn't having it. He lunges and grabs her. "Where do you think you're going?" he shouts, pulling her back. He tells her straight up, her home is right here. The birdmen watch, jaws dropped, muttering about how fast kids disappear these days. He hugs her tight, realizing he can't take his eyes off this kid for a single second. Cut to the next scene, a steaming bowl of ramen with an egg lands on the table. Little Nari is slurping noodles like a champ. She's glowing way happier now. She tells Dawoon this beats the fancy food, and Kisok agrees. Ramen is the ultimate snack. The bird woman scolds her, warning she'll get a beating if she tries to run away again. But Nari just whines that it's too spicy. Dawoon slides her a drink. Kisok grins, dropping some mom wisdom about how that's the best cure for the heat. He gets up to clean the mess, while the others head back to chop wood. Empty yogurt bottles clutter the table. The aftermath of the spicy battle. Later, alone with the Mr. Nari, quietly apologizes for making him worry. He shuts that down immediately. She did nothing wrong. The real villains are the scumbags who made her. He sits down, expression serious. Time to get real. He asks about her other friends. Nari tilts her head, confused. Dawoon explains he needs to know so they don't get hurt when he burns Hanbit Lab to the ground. She starts listing names, and it clicks. Kisok must know where the lab is hiding. Scene switch to Nam Kisok wearing a sinister, villainous smile. He walks up to the prisoners. The blonde hunter struggles, but Kisok reminds him that Big Brother blocked their mana. He rips the gag off the guy's mouth. The hunter gasps for air, terrified. He immediately tries to cut a deal, offering to pay any price for his freedom. He claims he has enough cash to buy a house in Golden City. Kisok laughs maniacally. "Deals need balance, bro." He flashes a sleek black card. "I don't need your pocket change." The hunter goes pale, stammering about the card, but Kisok ignores him. He's enjoying this way too much. This is sweet revenge for the rank advancement exam. He remembers these guys calling him an idiot. "You guys are famous trash," he spits with venom. "So what's the bigger crime, failing a test or robbing the weak?" Kisok flashes a wicked grin, holding up a pill concentrated with memory-wiping herbs. He swears it packs a punch. He claims it's time to factory reset this guy's trash personality. He commands the hunter to open wide, ignoring the dude's desperate screams of protest. Cut to the next day, Nari is sprinting circles around a totally exhausted Gu, who is whining about babysitting duty. Dawoon cuts in. They are hitting Hanbit Lab. While Nari and Gu promise to hold down the fort, Kisok rolls up, telling Big Brother they are locked and loaded. The guy is grinning like a maniac. Dawoon clocks the mood shift immediately. Kisok is hyped about meeting an A-rank alchemist. He is buzzing for the road trip, but the bird woman throws a flag they need disguises. Kisok looks totally confused. She taps her chin, brainstorming, then whips off her own mask. She hands it over, insisting that getting spotted would be a total disaster. He grabs it, skeptical about the fit, until she roasts him for having a massive head. Kisok instantly snaps at the shade, but the second she touches him, his pulse spikes. Face heating up, he is spiraling, wondering why her laugh is suddenly making his heart hammer. Is this love at first sight? Nope. Reality check. She is actually screaming at her partner, threatening to absolutely destroy him. Kisok drops to his knees, begging for mercy for being an idiot. Then he switches to smooth mode, asking what her ideal type looks like. Dawoon just watches the chaos, casually plucking a feather from their monster friend. Meanwhile, the question catches her off guard. Brother realizes she is actually crunching the data. He explains that is just her vibe. She feels compelled to answer every question honestly. So she starts listing specs. First requirement, the guy has to be flashy. She adds that killer dance moves are a must. A visual of a colorful peacock pops up, but the metaphor flies right over Kisok's head. He mutters dance, but reality hits when she drops the final bomb. The more feathers, the better. Dude realizes he has zero chance. Suddenly, he is fired up, literally raging that he needs that alchemist right now. A massive return portal rips open in front of them. Kisok is floored by the scale. Little Gu gets sucked in first, and just like that, they spit out right in the middle of the city. Civilians start panicking at the sight of the poisonous Roca parrot. Someone spots riders on the beast and screams to call the association immediately. Kisok asks Big Brother why they brought a kaiju-sized bird just to terrorize the locals. Now masked up, he demands the destination. Dawoon, rocking a bone mask, says he knows exactly what he is doing. Admiring the beast soaring through the azure sky, he decides to name it Blue. While Gu is basically dying of fright, the scene cuts to a lab. Reports are flooding in, the hunters are back, but their memories are wiped clean. An underling reports the Chimera tracker is MIA. The director slams his fist on the table, absolutely losing it. Without that creature, his investment is toast, and he knows the shadow bosses won't let a screw-up like this slide. But a scientist interrupts. They found something on an unconscious hunter. He holds up a note. It reads, "See you soon." The director freezes. Then the old man explodes into a rage, screaming for them to find out who is pulling this prank. But right then, the building's window shatters into 1,000 shards, as an unexpected guest crashes the party. Dawoon notes the landing was rough. He will need to treat Blue's tail feather later. He stands up, staring down the entire room. He coldly asks, "Which one of you is the lab director?" Rewind a bit, we see them surfing the giant bird over the cityscape. Nam Ki-suk asks if hanging off the side is actually safe. Dawoon ignores the safety hazard, explaining that Hanbit Laboratory isn't just some random spot. It is media famous, notorious for creating Kim Nari, an experiment he considers a straight-up crime. Oh Bong-soo insists Chon Dawoon must have a master plan, so they need to trust the process. Just then, Nam Ki-suk spots something. The bird's tail feather looks wonky. Cheon Dawoon explains the creature used to be an outcast running from its own kind. He saved it because of that defect, which is exactly why the beast is so fiercely loyal now. Apparently, this species is obsessed with aesthetic perfection, so the flock used to attack it. And the bird, it remembers every scar. Its expression twists into pure, unadulterated rage. The flock tore at its tail just because it wasn't perfect. Nam Ki-suk goes quiet. He gets it. He kneels down, connecting with the creature. He whispers that he knows the pain of being stuck, unable to evolve. Finally, they lock onto the target, a fortress hidden in the mountains. Cheon Dawoon cracks a smile and orders Blue to dive bomb the location. The giant bird doesn't hesitate. It lets out a piercing screech and goes full throttle diving at a speed that has the rest of the crew praying for their lives. Cheon Dawoon yells to brace for impact because this landing is going to get ugly. Boom, they smash right through the laboratory wall. Debris flies everywhere. Inside, the scientists are scrambling, convinced World War III just kicked off. A researcher squints through the dust and smoke, spotting a shadow. Suddenly, the massive beak of the bird looms right in his face. The guy freezes in sheer terror, screaming about a poison bird breaching the perimeter. Just then, thwip golden webs shoot out from the haze. The webs pin the entire staff instantly. Chon Dawoon steps onto the floor, coolly noting that he managed to bag most of the rats. Utilizing the trap, Oh Bong-soo questions why they didn't just breeze through the main entrance, but he gets shut down. The boss is waiting on the top floor. Cut to the lab, the white coats demand an ID check. He drops the bomb that he's Nari's guardian, but the scientists look totally blank. Like the name Kim Nari doesn't even ring a bell. Suddenly, Cheon Dawoon's radar goes off. He senses a nasty demonic aura spiking nearby. Smash cut to Gold City at the Hunters Association HQ, where the tension is thick enough to cut with a knife during exam prep. In a high-end office, an old-timer lays down the law, threatening to kick his own grandson to the curb if he flunks the test. But the kid Lee Bakho claps back instantly, flexing that he's already a class hunter, a massive achievement for someone his age. He immediately pivots, using the lecture as leverage to hustle his grandpa for a bigger allowance, making the old man regret spoiling him rotten. Association President Lee Un-soo lets out a heavy sigh, grumbling about the weight of his 84 years. Bakho catches the drift and cheekily suggests it might be time for a changing of the guard. We learn that the grandfather built this association to be a shield for the world, even a small one. But now, he laments that modern hunters are just mercenaries chasing a paycheck. The Chimera research was meant to save lives, not feed hunters to the slaughter. But hiring that kind of backup means paying a king's ransom to the labs. Consequently, the poverty-stricken zones are left completely defenseless against monster attacks. He knows he can't fully blame the hunters. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and everyone is just trying to stay alive. Still, he believes a society where survival is auctioned to the highest bidder is fundamentally broken. Meanwhile, everyone is eyeing his throne, just waiting to snatch his position to fuel their own power plays. He vents his frustration. His low rank always made him a figurehead without real force. Then he looks at his grandson with a spark of hope. Bakho is an early awakener, a prodigy who could rewrite the narrative. Suddenly, a staffer bursts in breathless, announcing Advisor Kim's arrival, before screaming that poison birds are swarming the slums. Bakho is stunned by the intel. While the president is visibly shaken, there wasn't a single warning sign of a gate opening. Panic rising, he demands a status report on the hunters, but the staffer admits they've already pinged the local branch. Then comes the gut punch. The hunters are ghosting the call. No one wants the job. The president's face goes red with rage. He slams his fist on the desk, declaring that if no one else will step up, he'll handle it personally, and orders them to dial up the Chimera labs. Watching his grandfather storm out, Bakho yells out that he's riding shotgun to provide backup. Meanwhile, back in the creepy lab, Cheon Dawoon locks onto a bizarre energy signature, radiating from a hostage. Suddenly, the guy goes nuclear, snapping his restraints like twigs, sending Oh Bong-soo into a panic. A pitch-black, sinister miasma swallows the scientist's body whole. And when the smoke clears, the human is gone. Replaced by a puddle of living liquid metal, Nam Ki-suk's jaw hits the floor, his brain trying to process if that guy was a chimera all along. The metal begins to morph and the staff screams in horror. The director is a monster. Cheon Dawoon stands there unfazed, casually wiping a speck of dirt off his cheek while chaos erupts. The Chimera director charges, roaring in pure fury over his trashed laboratory. He vows to slaughter every single intruder. launching a lethal liquid metal projectile straight at them. Cheon Dae-woon stares death in the face, confirming his suspicion that the director was the big bad. He barely sidesteps the strike, noting the metal is a dead ringer for Nari's, but it feels soulless. He wonders if this maniac experimented on his own biology to achieve that form. Suddenly, Gu spots a shift in Cheon Dae-woon's vibe. Something major is happening. We get a reveal that Dae-woon just force-linked his mind with Nam Ki-suk right in the heat of battle. Little Gu is flabbergasted, having zero clue that Dae-woon possessed telepathic capabilities. The scene flashes back, revealing a gruesome memory of a bloody child on an operating table. It turns out director An Gi-jung was obsessed with outshining his grandfather's legacy. Back in the present, the floor shatters from the director's impact, but Cheon Dae-woon walks through the debris, demanding to know if he snatched kids for his twisted science. The director scoffs, claiming those slum rats should be grateful for the upgrade. That's the last straw. Cheon Dae-woon slams him into the ground with god-tier strength, wrecking the room. The monster tries to go liquid to escape, but his body glitches out, refusing to shapeshift. Panic sets in. Cheon Dae-woon coldly announces it's time for a little timeout in the pain room. He pins the creature to the wall with a suffocating amount of mana, leaving the director paralyzed with shock. The villain shrieks in agony, begging for mercy as his form twists unnaturally. Then vacuum force kicks in, compressing his entire existence into a tiny glowing sphere of light. The orb clatters to the ground, and Dae-woon kneels to inspect his catch. Nam Ki-suk and Gu are absolutely traumatized, screaming about how a grown man just got turned into a marble. With zero chill, the protagonist scoops up the orb. He glares at the remaining scientists and asks if they want to be turned into pocket-sized souvenirs too. Word on the street was that this whole mess kicked off when Im Bok-dok swiped his master's life work. But Cheon Do won. He's digging through the guy's memories and finding absolutely zero. Zilch. It doesn't add up. We cut to the tech Nari's tracker. Was basically cheap code and easy delete. Meanwhile, Nam Ki-suk and the Bluebird are on janitor duty, scrubbing the crime scene. Only one loose end left, finding the twisted legacy of the director's off-the-books experiments. Smash. Do-won shatters the glass barrier with a single strike, stepping into the hidden lab. It's a straight-up nightmare factory inside. Chimera bodies floating in stasis tanks. Do-won's blood boils this scumbag treated living kids like raw data. Trash, he spits. The little monster looks up, nervous. So boss, what's the play? A flashback hits. White coats arguing. They wanted to butcher him. Why wait, they'd said. He's the perfect specimen. Crack him open now while the data is fresh. Pure greed. Back in the now, Do-won rests a hand on cold glass. He decides to pull the plug, let these poor souls finally sleep. He gears up to nuke the place, but Gu freezes. Hold up. Something stirs in a tube. A tiny fox thing pops out, sniffing the air. I know that scent. Do-won blinks. Didn't know this critter had Nari-level speech skills. He smirks at Gu. Must be my cologne. I shower every day, you know. You know a mech girl? Do-won asks. The creature's eyes go wide. She's living large in the demon realm. Cue the waterworks. The fox breaks down sobbing. It's been waiting forever for news of its bestie, Nari. Do-won glances around. Anyone else in here? The fox chirps, calling the squad out. Out creeps a shy tree thing and a nervous ant, followed by a whole crew of little mole cactus-looking guys. Is this it? Do-won asks. The fighters got sold off, the fox admits, voice trembling. Relief washes over him. These are demon realm natives. Pack your bags, he tells them. I'm taking you home. The critters go absolutely wild with joy. Cut to the Handbit lab, blowing sky high. Flames licking the clouds. Watching from a rooftop, the truth lands. The slums were just a decoy. The lab was the real target. Suddenly, Baek-ho points. Poison bird at 12 o'clock amidst the smoke. But there's a rider on that beast. Nam Ki-suk reports. I cleared the researchers out. They were clueless. He pauses. Shouldn't we have wiped their memories with oblivion pills? Do-won just stares. No. Nam Ki-suk is baffled, but the protagonist ignores him, looking down. Below the association, President squints up, asking if anyone IDs the figures. Reveal time, it's the big boss Lee Won-soo and his grandson. On a recon run. Do-won frowns. Lee Won-soo. The name rings a bell. Then, click. He knows exactly who that geezer is. Do-won pulls out the sphere, holding the trapped director smirks. And whoosh dives off the bird, chucking the sphere down. Nam Ki-suk looks like he's gonna hurl from fear. The object rockets down like a meteor straight at the president. But the old man's got hands. Lee Won-soo snatches the glowing orb mid-air. Grandpa, what the heck is that? The kid gasps. The old man is rattled. He didn't see this coming. A high-level seal, he mutters. Only a beast could break this. Soldiers rush in. Sir, 0 casualties reported. The president stands there deep in thought. Witnesses say the director was a monster, a soldier adds, and that an intruder saved everyone. Lee Won-soo is totally floored. His mind races. Could that child still be alive after all this time? Up in the clouds, Do-won calls it. Back to the slums. Gu cheers, but Do-won sighs. No rest for the wicked, the association is going to be hunting them now. Scene switch Alchemist's HQ. A man jolts awake at a weird noise. He creeps to the door, wondering who's visiting at ungodly hours. He opens it and Trip stumbles over Oh Bong-soo on the floor. Manager Kim screams. Total panic mode. Burglar, he thinks. So clumsy, a voice sighs. Do-won shakes his head. Chill out, Kim. The manager blinks, recognizing the voice. What? What are you doing here? Do-won rips off the mask, flashing a devilish grin. Pack your bags, manager. You're coming to the demon realm. Meanwhile, in a forest clearing, Birdman is running a DIY class on quartz fences. Drill a hole, insert the glowstone. Snap it together. He drops a lamp on the table. Nari's jaw hits the floor. It's gorgeous, she whispers. The squad agrees, pure genius. Nari starts crunching numbers on how many they need, but then energy spike. A portal rips open nearby. Master's back, they think. But nope. A pile of exhausted chimeras tumbles out like laundry. Nari eyes the new arrivals, totally unimpressed. Did Dawoon seriously send these guys? They look weak as hell. As they drift toward the unfinished fence, Nari grips her pet Sasa tight. The vibe feels off and she's getting jittery. But Sasa, he ain't having it. He leaps to the ground, puffing his chest out to face the newcomers head on. Squeak. It's a power move. He slides up to this little plant, Chimera, trying to establish the local pecking order immediately. Maximum intimidation mode activated. But the plant beast, zero reaction. Walks right past Sasa like he doesn't even exist. Cold. The new kid looks shy, rocking those innocent doe eyes. Seems like the little sprout is vibing with the garden atmosphere. Just a wholesome little sprout, right? Wrong. The energy in this garden is about to shift. Big time. Rumble. Suddenly the earth quakes. Dust clouds explode upward like a bomb went off. The real landlords have arrived. A squad of furious radishes bursts from the soil. Cut to Dawoon's crew rolling up to the base. Blue take 5. Manager Kim's jaw hits the floor. His brain literally cannot process this view. No, this isn't possible. Dawoon actually built a fortress in the demon realm. Shock fades, quickly replaced by pure greed as he calculates the property value. He's already analyzing the market. Meanwhile, Dawoon glances over at Nari in the distance. Still no peace treaty. He signals the squad, Namki, Sok, and Kim to freeze. Stay put. The hunter steps up to the others, flashing a new gadget that's going to be a total game changer. But let's get back to the real drama, the garden beef. It's a standoff, high noon style. One radish is absolutely seething face twisted in pure rage. He is not here to make buddies. But the sprout, it stands its ground, fists up, ready to throw hands for its turf. Chaos escalates. A giant ant enters the chat tail, glowing ominously like it's charging up a laser. It senses its new homie is in trouble. Suddenly, whoosh, the sprout spins and yeets the ant with superhuman force. Total plot twist. It hurls the creature straight at the angry radish like a living projectile. The radish doesn't blink. He grabs his own teammate and swings him like a baseball bat. The smaller radish doesn't even know what hit him literally. Crack perfect contact. Bizarre but effective teamwork. The ant gets absolutely wrecked, spinning out and hitting the dirt, seeing stars. KO. Radishes take the W. Looks like that welcome ceremony really leveled up their coordination. Post-fight hydration check for the sprout and the crew. Elsewhere, the little fox Chimera is sniffing the ground. She freezes. Locks eyes on a tree. That scent. It hits different. She knows it. Zero doubt in her mind. That smell is etched into her memory. She spots Nari lurking in the shadows. Nari, the mechanical creature, is trembling, eyes flooding with tears. I'm so sorry, Nari whispers, vowing to stay planted behind that tree until she earns redemption. Flashback time. A lab. Cold atmosphere. 2 scientists are arguing about a defective battlebot who refuses to fight. It keeps losing. It's a personality glitch, one sneers. The thing was born too soft. It has a heart. We see the little robot miserable, feeling like trash while dark shadows loom. Then the scientist grins. That evil grin. If the personality is the bug, let's patch it. The plan, give the bot a roommate. A weakling designed to obey orders. They dump a bunch of small chimeras in the cell to force a bond of friendship. And just when they get close, the command drops. Betray him. The fox snaps, sinking its fangs into the robot without mercy. Savage violence. The narrator drops truth. Physical pain is nothing compared to a friend sticking a knife in your back. Crumpled on the floor, something inside him breaks. Friends aren't real, a voice echoes. Kill or be killed. System rewrite complete. He snaps. Pure rage mode activated. He launches at the scientist with lethal intent. Guards swarm him. But even while going berserk, he refuses to hurt his animal friends. He screams in total despair. To protect them, he has to leave. He makes the impossible choice, escape the lab forever. Snap back to reality. The robotic creature stares at the fox's teardrops hitting the dirt. He drifts down toward her. The little fox looks up, stunned. Is it really him? The dam breaks. She bawls her eyes out. He scoops her up in a massive, crushing hug. I missed you, he wails. The fox is confused but clinging on for dear life. I missed all of you so much. And right there under the shade of that tree, the vow is made. I'm never leaving you guys alone again. From a distance, Dawoon clocks it. That's the OG Nari. He smirks, turning a blind eye. Peace has finally returned. While the pack trails him deep into the woods, Nam Ki-sok and manager Kim hang back, respecting Dawoon's wish not to spook little Nari. The Chimera crew can't stop staring, dying to know who the weirdo in pajamas standing next to the hunter actually is. Dawoon breaks the ice, introducing the pajama guy as the alchemist here to break their curses. Manager Kim steps up totally awkward, mumbling about not being a bother before asking the massive birdman if he can yank a few feathers. The big guy just stands there, shell-shocked. Miles away, Oh Bong-soo reports the sighting of a blue monster bird exiting the portal, noting the sudden chill in the air. Right on cue, Chief Park slides a tray across the table, a steaming roasted sweet potato, the ultimate comfort food for a freezing day. The boy grabs the hot treat, blowing on it frantically to save his tongue before taking a massive bite. Pure bliss hits him, soaking in the warmth and flavor. He pauses, asking if he's the only one digging in, but Chief Park claims she's already stuffed. She clocks that he looks rough, but Bong-soo puts on a brave face, claiming it's just soreness from hardcore training. She's not buying it, pointing out his symptoms, scream Hunter awakening. She asks if he's 17, the prime age for powers to manifest. Bong-soo laughs it off as a joke, but she snaps back, yelling that the awakening process doesn't care about his opinion. He tells her not to get her hopes up, but she cuts him off by shoving a roll of cash into his hand. The kid freezes, staring at the wad of bills that seemingly materialized out of thin air. She tells him there's a hunter association nearby, he needs to go take the test. She insists you never know when luck strikes, flashing a rare smile as she imagines him becoming a top-tier hunter. Bong-soo is floored by her support. He thanks her profusely, making the mistake of calling her mom, which triggers Chief Park to scream that she's definitely not old enough for that title. Back at the clearing, the Birdman grinds away, erecting the glowing yellow barrier, fingering the air like he's playing a grand piano. Boom! One massive quartz pillar slams into the earth, lighting up the entire forest like a stadium. Eagleman grinds through the night, realizing their chimera blood means zero fatigue. Then he spots Nam Ki-sok hanging around. Why is he still here? The bald guy screams he isn't just training. He actually wants to pitch in. Dawoon tries to wrap things up, but he gets checked. Hold up, let manager Kim cook. He asks if Ki-sok wants to bail, but the kid shoots him a thumbs up, totally hyped now that the drama is resolved. Dawoon shuts his eyes for a beat, plotting his next move. He pivots to the chimeras and drops a truth bomb. You want to crash here? You gotta work. Eagleman realizes having a purpose actually feels pretty good, and checks on Dawoon. But the hunter is already strolling with Nari, promising to finish the fence install. You cool with your friends? He asks. She freezes, then nods. Then she hits him with the big question. Did you really go to the tribe? He senses the panic radiating off her. Nari decides to come clean. I have to tell you, I'm not actually from the coconut tribe. He cuts her off. Nari. He drops the heavy news. Nobody is coming looking for you. I handled everything, he explains. Staring at the fence, he shares his vision. He suggests that they should be the new coconut tribe. She's confused, but he just smiles. Our family got bigger. We need a name. Tears well up, as Nari whispers the name, totally overwhelmed. Thank you, sir. He tells her it's time to head back. Because the squad is waiting. She sprints ahead, screaming, I'm back. We're an official tribe now. Watching her glow up, Eagleman knows that little chat went perfectly. The new fence glitters, making their home look aesthetic as heck. She tackles her fox friend in a hug, scolding her. Where did you go without telling me? Dawoon chuckles at the scene. But suddenly he senses a presence. Fast. From the sky, Monster Bird Blue dive bombs straight at the hunter, but the beast just nuzzles him like a puppy. Dawoon realizes he's just a baby in a giant body. Then he spots a detail. Realizing Blue's tail looks brand new, manager Kim walks up, explaining Blue heals fast. Treatment is done. I used some red moss. Powerful stuff. Nam Ki-sok's jaw hits the floor, witnessing this miracle. Seeing the feathers grew back instantly. Reading the room, Ki-sok realizes this is his golden ticket. He slides up to manager Kim, whispering, So, interested in hair loss solutions? Dead serious face. He reveals he's been cooking up a baldness cure for 10 years. The manager lights up, promising a massive reward. Because he gets the struggle. Ki-sok bows, deeply hyped out of his mind, swearing eternal loyalty. The manager turns to Birdman. I checked your feathers too. He explains, the curse is ancient magic, and super powerful, so it's tough to break. But he adds, I can fix it if we get a ton of mandrake fruit. You mean those red fruits? Dawoon asks. The manager is shook, he knows them. Yeah, I already ate a bunch. He drops a pro tip. The plants nearby are primed to burst with fruit. Manager Kim freezes, eyes bulging as he finally spots the massive mandrake garden hiding in plain sight. The rundown is simple. These things are organic batteries condensing pure energy into a superfruit. But the manager waves a red flag. There is a catch. Try to snatch that fruit by force, and it turns straight toxic. Dawoon, playing it smart, suggests burying them under stones to mimic their natural habitat, since they crave cover to produce. The manager's jaw hits the floor, completely baffled at how a rookie has this kind of top-tier intel. Dawoon just smirks, claiming he's got a special connection with the mandrakes. Cut to a flashback, peeling back the layers of his memory. Back when he was Subject 17, dropped into a survival mission. But honestly, for a beast like him, this hellscape was just a walk in the park. Trekking through the biting cold of a snow mountain, he suddenly pumps the brakes. A weird sound cuts through the silence. It's coming from a thicket nearby. He pushes the frozen branches aside, muscles tense, ready to wreck whatever made that noise. But in the snow, he finds a patch of mandrakes that look like they got jumped by some mystery predator. Deep in the frozen forest, he spots a strange creature and tries to scoop it up. But the little guy is feisty, instantly fighting back. It kicks and throws, sparks trying to defend itself. But the poor thing is running on fumes, panting hard and about to black out. The hunter hesitates. Why does he care? He realizes he actually pities the thing, even though he knows it is just a monster. He decides to play hero, pumping some of his own mana into it. The creature gets heavy-eyed drunk on the sudden energy boost. He figures he'll keep it for a few days. Cut to nightfall, the hunter trudging through deep snow, scanning for a spot to crash. He's lugging the little groaner in a box on his back. Finally, he spots a cave and announces they are camping there to escape the sub-zero freeze. Once inside, the curious critter sneaks out of its box, peeking at the hunter from behind a rock. It looks fully recharged. Must be the mana snack it just had. The hunter takes a swig of water to quench his thirst, but then he senses eyes on him. He glances over, the little guy is eyeing the water, totally parched. He apologizes for being slow on the uptake. He tosses some water to the critter, who starts vibrating with excitement. He has to tell the little dude to chill out. From the outside, the silhouette looks like the monster is doing a happy dance. But suddenly it darts to the back of the cave, leaving the hunter confused. A blinding blue light erupts from the darkness, startling him. The creature trots back, proudly holding a glowing fruit. Where did that even come from? The little monster offers it up. The hunter eyes it suspicious. Is this safe or a death trap? Remembering his poison resistance is maxed out, he takes a bite just to be polite. Boom, an explosion of sweet, refreshing flavor hits him. He feels his mana tank refilling instantly. This fruit is legit. He looks back at the critter, stunned, trying to process the logic here. The little thing starts trembling and glowing again, face scrunching up in effort. Suddenly, more fruits pop into existence. This beast is a living printer. Production goes into overdrive. He counts 5, then 6 new fruits dropping. The little monster pushes the whole pile toward him. He's confused why the VIP treatment. Then he sees the beast is totally wiped out. Is this a thank you gift? He appreciates the hustle, but tells the little guy to pump the brakes. He is satisfied. The creature gobbles up its own fruit. No seeds. A blue aura flares up, and the hunter finally gets the mechanics. That is how it grows. He feels a pang of guilt for draining the critter's mana supply, and swears to pay it back later. But then, something catches him off guard. He looks down, confused. The creature has curled up right in his lap, ignoring the cold ground for a warm spot. The hunter smiles, thinking this little weirdo is going to keep things interesting. Outside, massive monsters emerge from the shadows, drawn to the firelight like moths. They want the fruit, because those fruits are pure, condensed energy bombs. Sensing the threat, he grabs the little monster to clear the line of fire. Arm transforming into a weapon, he stands tall, vowing to protect the little guy. It is go time. He weaves past a lizard's energy blast. Next, he casually face tanks a hit from a giant gorilla, flexing his insane durability. Cut to the next day. The dust has settled. He's chilling on the phone while the happy little guy vibes by his side. The hunter closes his eyes, soaking in the sunrise with a faint smile. He whispers that it is finally time to head home. The little monster senses the shift in the air. The vibe turns sad. The hunter realizes why he felt that pity earlier. Seeing that abandoned creature in the snow was like looking in a mirror. It was just like his past self, unsafe and alone. But reality hits. He has to leave. The curse in his veins is a ticking clock. If he doesn't return, he dies, and he can't take the pet. If he does, it becomes a lab rat just like him. Instead, he weaves a complex web of threads in the cave, fortifying the safe zone, ensuring nothing can touch the beast here. He kneels down for one last moment. He ties a small keepsake to the little monster, telling it to hold on to it. The creature gets all shy and happy, thanking him in its own adorable way. But then he drops the bomb. He is leaving. The critter's face instantly crumbles into despair as the hunter walks away into the snow. The creature screeches, scrambling after him desperately, only to trip and faceplant in the snow. It manages one last heartbreaking goodbye, begging him to stay safe. But in the blink of an eye, the hunter vanishes, guilt-ridden for abandoning his little buddy. Left alone in the freezing cold, the tiny monster breaks down, bawling its eyes out. Smash cut to present day. We see manager Kim and Nam Ki-seok absolutely sobbing, hugging each other like a couple of babies over the tragic backstory. Dawoon drops the bomb. He went back to that mountain about 2 weeks later, but the cave totally caved in. The place was wiped clean. Wearing a look of pure regret, he apologizes again for failing the beast. Goo steps up to hype him up, suggesting that special silk thread might have acted like armor for the mini-monster. That sparks a flame. Dawoon gets fired up and they rush back to the mountain praying for a miracle. But when they touch down, it's not just one. It's a literal legion of snow creatures, and leading the pack, his old buddy shouting out a hype welcome. Dawoon grins, relieved his gut instinct to come back was right, hoping the little guy is still kicking. Scene shift. Honestly, there was zero chance the little guy survived that freeze alone. Manager Kim starts fangirling hard, swearing Dawoon is obsessed with mandrakes. Then he gets a bright idea. Hey, can I feed him some mana? They gotta be starving. Dawoon tries to warn him, but the guy's already walking up, telling the plants to play nice. Too late, Dawoon drops a fact check. These aren't just plants. They're living mana vacuums. They suck up energy with terrifying willpower. Panic hits Manager Kim as his mana gets drained at Mach speed. See, these critters are used to Dawoon's massive energy supply. The manager screams like a banshee as he gets juiced to the last drop. He turns ghost pale, totally paralyzed. His legs give out, and he hits the deck. Kisok rushes in, screaming the manager's name like he just died. It's a humiliating defeat for the alchemist. Even the skeleton can't fix this. Suddenly, the mandrakes start gagging. Dawoon realizes Manager Kim's mana tastes nasty to them. Cut to a sleek office where a staffer reports bad news. The Hanbit lab got raided. At the boardroom table, CEO Jessica is fuming that her investment just turned into hot garbage. Literally in one night. Deputy Chief Violet demands a fix, while President Zhang looks like he's sweating bullets, warning that the association is sniffing around. Another suit worries about the press getting wind of their dirty laundry, but President Go just scoffs, mocking them for being scared of some old geezer. Furious Gibong bangs the table, screaming that Go crossed a serious line with that crack. Go ignores him and turns to the politician in the room, asking if he's been spinning lies. Politician Park just smirks, telling them to chill. Yeah, a weirdo showed up, but that's just another Tuesday in government work. He rubs his fingers together, the universal sign for cash, and reveals a new gold mine. He slaps down a map of a mandrake nest. It's on a snowy peak. The suits doubt anyone can survive that climb, but the politician points to a spot way down the mountain and orders them to summon every rank A hunter. Gibong looks confused, asking why they aren't going straight to the top. Park flashes a sinister grin, because he explains we found a teleporter with god-tier potential. Scene switch. A young kid walks in to get his powers measured, smiling innocently at the receptionist, introducing himself as Oh Bangsu. Back at the frozen mountain, the hunter squad moves out, thinking this gig is a piece of cake. They ask where the teleporter kid is since he's the MVP of this mission. One hunter is confused. Didn't he hear? The kid was a useless rank F, who couldn't even step through a gate. Yeah, a buddy replies, but the boss has the power to boost abilities. Turns out, they snatched the kid off the street and hypnotized him. Suddenly, the leader throws a hand up, ordering a hard stop. He scans the area, confirming the coordinates are locked in for their little trick. A puppet master user grips the boy's shoulder, commanding him to cast. A neon green aura explodes around the kid. The squad gets into formation, hyped to see what this rare, useless ability can actually do when supercharged. The kid's eyes glow white. He unleashes everything he's got as boosted energy, literally ripping a hole in reality, and drilling a tunnel straight up the mountain. The exit portal snaps open right in front of the mandrakes, blindsiding them. The portal flares, dumping the hunters instantly into the heart of the nest. They are shook by the distance covered, but the power worked perfectly. The kid passes out from the strain, but the leader barks at the team to stop gawking. He grabs 2 glowing light orbs and shouts. First one to grab him gets the loot. He hurls the orbs. Boom, they expand into a massive energy net, snagging a huge cluster of screaming mandrakes. Gotcha. He celebrates the perfect trap, yelling for his squad to bag the merchandise before they can escape. But one mandrake is built different, marked by a unique scar. It stands apart from the horde. It unleashes a piercing battle screech, and just like that, the entire swarm mobs up, moving as a single unit. The hunters spot the beast barking orders and realize the pack is pushing hard against the containment net. One rookie starts freaking out, watching the little monsters literally eating through their trap, but the squad leader checks him immediately, explaining they're just draining the mana and the net is about to fade. A hulking tank of a man steps up with a massive hammer, calling the rank A hunters absolute trash. He flexes his massive arm, quipping that their mana absorption is cute and all, but warns that he runs on pure muscle, launching an attack without wasting a drop of magic. Sensing the lethal intent, the leader screams for a retreat, and the mandrakes scatter, desperate to save their own skins. But the little leader stands on business, facing the threat head-on, even as nervous sweat drips down its face. The brute mocks the creature, calling it king, sneering that the only reason it isn't paced is because it's a walking payday. But then a gorilla hybrid goes full aggro, roaring that he's gonna smash the little guy into the dirt. Out of nowhere, a shadow drops in, blocking the heavy strike effortlessly, while roasting the enemy's ugly-looking gear. The shockwave from the block is so violent it blasts the other hunters back with sheer air pressure. As the dust settles, they're left scrambling, wondering who this guy is, having never seen this face on the roster. Dawoon hits them with a death glare while they spiral, thinking it's impossible for their mission intel to have been snitched. Done with the chatter, he unleashes a suffocating dark aura that instantly shuts the whole place down. The gravity of his pressure is so intense it slams the hunters into the dirt, leaving them wailing in agony. Dead silence returns. The mandrake stares at its savior, totally shook. The little guy just stands there, trying to process the identity of this man who just spawned in. From the cliffs above, the birdman clocks the weird movement, confused by the massive cluster of hunters and mandrakes. But then, the masked woman locks eyes on a specific target. Amidst the chaos, a flicker of recognition crossing her face. The scene cuts to Dawoon's internal monologue. He knows he found the mandrake he was hunting for. He's 100% sure it's her spotting the silk ribbon he tied on her way back. A quick flashback hits. He's 15 years old, discovering the tiny creature freezing in the snow. Dawoon is hyped to realize she actually recognized his mana signature after all this time. The little mandrake gets the zoomies, launching herself excitedly toward her old friend. With gentle reflexes, the hunter scoops her out of the air, finally reunited with the little rascal. She snuggles into his arms, rubbing against him like a clingy puppy. Suddenly, Dawoon catches a weird sound, and his vibe shifts instantly. He spins around to see dozens of mandrakes just standing there, wondering if this is a family reunion. The small mandrake hops out of his lap and tugs his shirt, demanding attention. With a fierce glare, she steps in front of him, acting as a tiny human shield against the group. Then she turns to the crowd and goes full boss mode, acting like the king of the pack, catching Dawoon off guard. The creature stands on her tiptoes, trembling, while trying to look massive and intimidating. Dawoon grins, thinking she's just as dramatic and expressive as the day he lost her. The scene snaps back to the present with him telling his squad he knew he'd track her down. The Chimera woman is shocked the thing is still breathing, while the Birdman confirms the identity by the ribbon. He asks if Dawoon plans to add this one to the garden collection. The young man looks thoughtful. Dawoon explains that if she's already claimed her turf here, convincing her to leave won't be a walk in the park. The talk shifts to the hunters, and our protagonist casually suggests they just spook them off. But suddenly his face drops, expression turning dark as he spots something on the ground. It's the kid, Bong-Soo, collapsed and unconscious in the snow. Leaving Dawoon paralyzed for a second, he sprints over to help the boy, while the chimeras are left confused about the sudden urgency. Dawoon explains this is the kid who guided him through the slums a while back, but he realizes the boy has awakened powers and is in critical condition. The bird woman scans the energy signature, confirming he's a newly awakened transference user. She points to a mark on his arm, a curse warning he won't last 3 days. Worried sick, Dawoon looks down at the battered kid, trying to piece together what kind of hell he went through. A dark demonic rage washes over his face as the reality of the situation clicks. Dawoon stares daggers at the hunters, identifying each of their abilities by the residue on the boy's mana. He accuses the cowards of using Bong-Soo as bait because they were too scared to climb the mountain themselves. An absurd level of energy explodes from Dawoon, making the hunter realize he is completely outclassed. The man panics, offering to catch some mandrakes to barter for his life. But the protagonist has zero interest in talking, and lands a brutal one-tap blow on the leader with his dark mana. He engages the entire enemy team at once with zero mercy. He then corners the other hunter, demanding to know what went through his head when he saw a kid out here. Dawoon already knew the answer. They saw a disposable orphan easy to use and toss aside. The hunters were blinded by the cash they'd make, operating on the law of the jungle. So he warns he's about to apply those same rules to them, starting with a thorough beatdown. In the distance, the small mandrakes watch the brawl, curious about the chaos. The scene shifts to Dawoon, sitting next to Bong-Soo, who is now resting on a rock, with the small mandrake perched on his head. Dawoon sits there lost in thought. Flashback sequence hits hard. Dawoon remembers the kid grinding, pushing his physical limits just to get on the leaderboard. Bong-Soo used to hype him up, saying, "I want to be a beast like you." Honestly, that kinda caught Dawoon off guard back then. In the memory, the kid was fanboying over Dawoon soloing the Demon Realm. But reality check, the boy is flatlining right now. Dawoon grips the dying kid, swearing he won't let this be the end. Suddenly, a desperate scream rips through the freezing air. Backup has arrived. Its manager Kim literally airdropped by a flying chimera screaming Bong-Soo's name. The beast dumps him midair, and Kim hits the snow, stumbling and flailing through the drifts like a total amateur. Zero coordination. The manager trips and faceplants hard, sliding right up to Dawoon's boots. He scrambles up, panic written all over him, but Dawoon shuts him down. Save the drama. Treat the kid. No time to waste. Kim blasts his healing skills on Bong-Soo. But the light fades, he realizes it's useless. The kid's life bar is empty. Kim looks devastated. It's game over. We could dump every potion on Earth into him and it wouldn't fix this. Dawoon can't process it. Why does the good kid have to go out like this? He demands answers, then a crazy idea sparks. Wait, I might have a cheat code. Kim freezes. Dawoon starts carving an ancient alchemy circle into the frozen ground. Kim's jaw drops. He recognizes that sigil. Are you insane? That's mana extraction. That is strictly forbidden tech. That spell is volatile. You'd have to drain every single one of us dry, and even then, survival isn't guaranteed. Dawoon hits him with the twist. Who said anything about us? Just drain me. The request hits Kim like a truck. The manager is trembling, but Dawoon just flashes a cocky grin. I'm not letting Bong-soo owe his life to a bunch of scrubs. Cut to the lab days. Scientists losing their minds because number 17's mana stats were literally off the charts. They tried to farm his infinite energy to unlock the alchemy of life. But back then, even bleeding out, Dawoon just laughed in their faces. He remembers handling that little experiment by blowing the whole facility sky high. He wasn't vibing with their plan. Still, he's got to admit the math on their circle was solid. Back in the present, Dawoon sheds his shirt, ready to tank the damage. He locks eyes with the manager. Let's roll. Kim swallows his fear, hands shaking. All right, starting the extraction now.